day, Internet, and welcome to the Monday Night Online Open Mic presented by the legendary Nuyorican Poets Cafe. I am your host for the evening. My name is Advocate of Wordz, and happy Monday to everyone. Oh, let me see the faces. There go the faces. Shout out to Mr. Chris Lopez for getting this puppy started for us. Oh, and I know we did it last week, but last week I had technical problems and I didn't have the opening. And just listening to the opening, it felt good to me. I'm addicted to it. I don't know how you are. I hope you are. Nonetheless, we have an awesome open mic set up. Not only the people who are performing, we got some treats for you, including a representative from LMCC, which is Lower Manhattan Culture Council. I'm dyslexic. I'm mixing it up. But she's going to come on and speak with us about grants and stuff like that. So I'm not exactly sure what she's going to talk about. So I'm going to be learning along with you. And that is something that I want to introduce to the Monday Night Online Open Mic, right? We got our special intro. We got our highlights and all of that stuff. Like I always want to say, how can I help make it different? And I think that every week, or at least every other week, I want to try to bring someone on who can speak about like how we can advance our arts outside of art, right? Like the business side, stuff like that. Nonetheless, I don't want to take up too much time. But of course, we got to get to business. So once again, this is the Monday Night Online Open Mic presented by the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, Volume 2, which means we're in our second year. This is the 71st week in a row, no days off, that the Monday Night Online Open Mic has been going on. So show number 71. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We've been doing so for the past 71 weeks. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. You can look up Nuyorican Poets Cafe on Facebook and YouTube. And the recording of our open mic is posted on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to go back and you want to see how you performed or someone else performed, you could go back and watch all of our previous shows. Or you can join us on Zoom if you're watching us live. The number is 279-995-364. And if you happen to be watching this in the future, hello, people in the future, that is the number we use every Monday. Make sure that you lock it in. We'd like to thank the National Endowment for the Arts, New York State Council on the Arts, the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, Amazon Literary Partnership, and the New York Community Trust for sponsoring our free online events. You too can help support us with a tax-deductible donation by going to www.nuyorican.org/contribute or on Cash App, Nuyorican Poets Cafe. Tonight's theme, favorite book. Oh, I like this flyer. It's so magical. Favorite book. Of course, you can flip it how you want. You have poetic license. It's all up to you. Or you can hit it the nail on the head. If you would like to know our themes coming up for the next 2 months, you can see on the right. Next week, it's a joke. I think it's like International Joke Day. So it's a joke, and we have all the themes for the next 2 months. I'd like to point to September 6th. There's no theme, but you're only going to have 2 minutes to rock. I want to get to everyone on the waiting list. And for the first time ever, I would love to just pick people out of Zoom. Like, you didn't get to sign up, but you're rocking out. We're going to try to do that on September 6th. I'm also looking forward to October 4th, Spirit Animal. Nonetheless, you can see all of this information on my social media, on Instagram, Twitter. I'm also on YouTube. Look up Advocate of Wordz. When you spell words, that's with a Z at the end. And the highlight reels, we try to do every week, highlight reels from our previous open mics you can find on my YouTube. So go check it out. Poets who are performing tonight, please, you don't have to when you're in the audience, but when you are performing, please turn your camera on. We want to simulate like this is a real open mic in person as much as possible. Your facial expressions are important to that. So we got a few rules that I really need you to pay attention to. Have your poem ready. We have a lot of people on the open mic. We want to get to them in a timely manner. So one of the ways that we can stop delays is that when poets get called, they're like, oh, wait, let me look for my poem. No, have it ready. Let's go. Put one in the chamber. Be courteous. Also, you have 4 minutes to read or perform your poem. Please, no epic poems. Again, we have a lot of people on the open mic list, and everyone signed up knows how difficult it can be to get onto the list. So I want to try to get to as many people on the waiting list as possible. Be courteous. Also, in terms of censorship, there is none. this has been your warning. We want poets to have their freedom of speech, and we also want them to speak about whatever it is that they're feeling. And sometimes that gets into things that may trigger us. This is how open mics work. So I just want to let you know to be aware that no censorship put the babies to bed. After our poets perform, we like to get ignorant and loud and piss off all our neighbors at once. So you're going to see the host is going to ask you to unmute yourself. You click that blue button, unmute yourself, and then you get wild with it. Oh, did I put the rules up or did I skip that? Oh, I didn't even set that up. All right. So, oh no, I did do the rules. I just changed the graphics. Sorry, it's been a while. Okay. With that being said, let me get out the open mic list and post it into the chat. Those of you who are with us on Zoom, make sure that you open up the chat, because when our poets are performing, we like to give you an opportunity to like send your thoughts and love to them, so that after they perform, they can come back and they can read it. And of course, we're going to keep asking people to share their social media. You do not have to. But I'm just big on and open in that so we can build community. And the thing is every Monday night, I want you with me, but some of our other members are doing things on their own on other days. And you may be like, I can't wait for Monday. And it's Friday and you don't know what to do. Now you know. This community is popping. There is so much. So we're going to go through a few poets, and then we are going to get to our special guest. So with that being said, we are starting it off hot and heavy, folks. We are going hot and heavy. We are going to give you our honey trap, Mr. Paul Conqueso, who recently hosted his own open mic and who also recently had held his own workshop, Mr. Professor Paul Conqueso. Paul, you know the deal. Let the people know where they can find you online, and then let's get into it.
Y'all can find me at Paul Conqueso on Instagram and Linktree. Storm Gods in the building, Men Who Heal, Sound from the Underground. I'm going to do a new tradition before I start. I would like everybody to close their eyes for a couple of seconds and think of something that they are grateful for. So just before I kick things off, I would really like everybody to close their eyes. 2 to 3 seconds. All right. Right. So this is my contribution to today's theme. I've written this all entirely today while at the gym. So let's see how the fuck it goes. It's called Book of the Dead. I think the ultimate irony is that the book of life is also the book of the dead, dug up from the dregs of Hymenoptera, once left to the dust of ruinous tombs in Egypt, where you can't disentangle Osiris from Amun-Ra or Anubis from Isis. After all, what's a deity of the sky without one of the underworld? Love's unfurled by narratives, and I was tasked to choose just one, not cognizant of just how ominous a task that'd be, patchworking libraries and bookshelf dreams. See, I've always been told not to judge books by their covering, because often self-destruction can look like functioning. There's a long track record of all the things I have loved most in life, wanting to flee, even family leaves from the family tree, flocking to afterlife, like Book of the Dead. Narrators offering bedtime fairy tales is what registers in memory. Boys like me who simply didn't want to grow up, and thus they loved impossibly. When did you change? When do you've aged? I thought you never grow up. I thought you never. Window closed. Wendy got old. I was too late. A shadow of what I once was. 'Cause we don't do the same drugs no more. And we don't do the same drugs no more. And she don't laugh the same way no more. And we don't do the same drugs no more. Hooking through sky, never to land, only for Pan to see that with love its own high, that drug took flight, and you watch them depart from that terminal, leaving you terminal, just like the vase holding vital organs. Viral chorus played from organs as the church bells ring, and the healthy weighted lady sings at some piano bar, electric arms casting symphony. I wake myself up to the euphony of having been loved painfully right to the point of break, and then thrown away so much of what I've loved in life as a hand-me-down. A thrift shopped quick stop through a secondhand heart and throat swallowed serenade. Yet something I've learned is best books always tend to be worn and creased, spine frayed on the verge of fracturing, pages marked with yellow highlight and underlining, signifying that pivot in your life. It's perfect chemistry of words brought to your world. Honestly, most of my favorite books aren't so much because of the titles of names, but how they change the way I see identity. The fact they all came to me, originated from consignment shops, garage sales, closets of best friends and ex-lovers, worn covers, saved by tape-held prayers and bindings, holding on by the thinnest threads. This war and peace in head, a tale of two cities, given these wuthering heights and good night, lullabies recycled endless times. The books I love most were not Amazon primed by barn-owning nobles, but jungle and farm hopefuls who know we are where the wild things are. Not Big Brother or Clockwork Orange holding eyelids open for Stephen King's to carry, shining minds past bluest eyes to kill two mockingbirds with one stone. We all know from the start that things fall apart and tend to shatter. And the reality of the matter is that we all drown in glass seas like Gatsby peering across the harbor at that glowing green light, but we can't deal with the unbearable lightness of being until we offer up our clay to mold, like Play-Doh apologies. Truth is, I read and speak best in poetry. My wicked, wicked ways have much to say about 20 odes which know why the cage bird sings, but they can't kill us unless they kill us. So let them throw their stones, burn and ban whatever pieces of paper they like contraband, because I can't stand lies behind lips while their eyes are watching God. My favorite book is a facade. My favorite book isn't even in a book. It's up next and 20 pieces after that. It happens every single night. We honor our narratives of confessional and fairy tale and patchwork myth and canting these stripters we share in this cyclical bridge of endless death you can only get when you detach from outcome and truly live. So step right up and recite everyone's next favorite narrative. But try your best not to Lazarus what's happily dead, because I already found peace in the narratives not meant for this particular read through, this book of life.
I think we're all done for today.
That's the honey trap right there, yo. That's the honey trap there.
Favorite book is This Facade. Come on, man. At Paul Conqueso. If you saw him performing, you got to see in the bottom left-hand side of the screen, that is his handle. You spell queso, Queso, not with a K. Also, just to let everyone know, in case you don't know, if you want to update your names to include your social media handle, you can. I'm going to mention that a lot because I am big about promoting the poets, but I don't want anyone to feel pressured that they have to. Not everyone has a social media, and some who do, they're only doing it up there, you know, for their friends or to piss off their exes. And it's not for us, and we're going to respect that. All right, let's keep moving on. Next, coming up, we have DG Clearing, my wingman. We just had the honey trap, and now we got my wingman, because DG Clearing is going to help me get over the hump of Paul Conqueso. All right, DG, when we go paint the town, we're gonna pick up more women than Paul. All right, we're gonna do this.
Exactly.
Right. How
it's
are
so
you?
good to be here. Thank you. Thank you everybody for the words and support last week. I appreciate it. I have one poem, and you can find me at DG Clearing somewhere on the net. Okay. This is in theme. My favorite, the story. Can there only be one favorite book? There is so much that happens in the world. There is so much that happens in our minds. The adventure of riding the river on a raft, going in a spacecraft to the moon. Aliens, dinosaurs, friends and foes. Autobiographies about your own life. Comedies that we laugh and cry at in the same line. What about drama? Pages are filled with it. Then there is romance about lovers and white beaches. You can get lost in the fiction of another person's tragedies. The histories of time are scribbled on the pages. Sometimes you just read because you need information. Legends of heroes that saved the world are sketched. Memoirs tell a secret story of the heart. as the mists right across the sky. The novel, the short story, the poem, fiction and nonfiction are filled with love, passion, hate, and wonderment. There are the cliffhangers that keep you on the edge, the prequel, the sequel, the before and the after, the long and the short of it in so many forms. Reading about relationships, courtships, and censorships. What about war? What about betrayal? Don't forget about the epic. You can dream like a child in a fairy tale with magic castles and unicorns and rainbows. Then there is crime. Who shot who? The heist of the century. We all want to become millionaires without working at it. Anecdotes, features, parables, the beat, series, sagas, scoops, and the story of the hoops. How can there be only one favorite book? Each word tells a story of love, hate, passion, and glory. Fill my hands with covers of books. Their spines support all of the stories. Thank you, everyone.
Give it up for
Jay, that was
GG.
Jay.
Good to have you back.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much.
That guy.
DG Clearing. And as I always say, here at the New York Open Mic on Mondays, you have poetic license. Flip it how you want. You are allowed to curse at the prompt. Do as you please. And I love that. I love that DJ includes like how just one favorite book. He should have gone a little further. What's wrong with you, Wordz? You're supposed to be a host and know better. DG Clearing, look him up. DG, my love to you and your family. I wishing y'all all the strength in the world. I appreciate you very much, man. And I'm happy to have you back. You and then Blue Eyes. We're gonna outdo Paul. That's what we're gonna outdo Paul together. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We got Amanda Villanueva coming up next. And after Amanda, we are going to hear from our special guest, Lena from LMCC. I'm excited about that. All right. So where is Amanda? There she is. I love the background. I love the color. The color, it is popping. Amanda, it's good to see you. You know the deal. Where can we find you online? And then let's get into it.
Thank you for having me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Medium, Amanda Ashley Villanueva. New shit, short shit, no title. It's a lot softer than my usual shit. No spice today, but let's get into it. What started as the anthology of empanology led to, let's get a hotel room tonight. On me. Like plátano con salami, like ponte pa dentro, papi, lento, papi, lo siento, papi. I wish I could erase our nights from memory for 222 seconds to stay focused on care of self, but I don't dare. You most deaf belong there. Won't let you out of my sight, even when you're not around. The sounds of your spin leaves me restless, leaves me a temptress, urgently urging, learning to be more reckless, to be more senseless, pulling sheets until we see heartbeats incomplete. Be you without me, although you could never be property, although you could never be owned by me. I might kiss the fine print of any bitch who learns to love you better than me. This crush is still baby, but I care to see her grow old. I care to hold you close, even if I'm not supposed to. Not supposed to lose my composure every time you touch me, but I will die happily inside this fantasy, the very same fantasy that will only become reality if both characters own their roles as soulmates, own the art of giving space and extending grace, even as your face lays in my hands while I script this with the other. Warm bodies of hot chocolate eating each other under covers, far from lovers and maybe even less than friends. The recipe for making amends is hidden in our skin. It isn't lost on me that one of the biggest forms of trust is allowing your body to sleep beside me. I don't know where this story ends. Maybe tomorrow, maybe this poem, but I cherish every moment. Thank you.
That's right.
Absolutely
Amanda.
beautiful.
Yes.
Think I'm in love.
So,
Yeah, that was spicy. That was
So
absolutely
dope.
spicy.
So
What are you
dope.
talking about? It's not spicy.
Yeah, that's spicy.
I'll stand island, you heard?
Amanda Villanueva, make sure you go look her up and give her a follow. I like to say that she will cut you with a compliment. She is the orca, but I feel like poets should be like that, right? Like when you're a poet, your power is supposed to be like you're carrying this big sword and you can either knight people, you can chop their head off. So I love having Amanda as part of our collective. Make sure you give her a follow. Oh, what a great way to start off. Now we've got our treat. And she seems in a good mood. I saw her come in and she put her video on and I watched her enjoying the poetry. And that is Lena. Hi, Lena. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. So nice being here with everyone. This is so exciting.
Good, good. I'm glad that you're excited. I'm glad you were here. So I have basically told them nothing. I've said grant money and I've said LMCC. That's all I have said, okay? So you let me know when you want me to put the graphics up. And from here, speak to the people.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, we can go ahead and get started. And yeah, that's the core messaging is that we have grant funding available that I'm here to share with you about. So I'll just, start by sharing how excited I am to be here with everyone, to hear your poems, and also to come and share with you some resources to hopefully support your practice. My name is Lina Alfonso, and I'm the program manager of the Grants and Services at the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council, LMCC. And I'm here to share with you information about our Manhattan Arts Grants programs, which are now open. And through these programs, we support Manhattan-based individual artists, groups, and organizations working across a wide range of disciplines in the presentation of arts programming and activities to Manhattan audiences, either virtual performances, in-person performances, or hybrids. So in front of you, you have the 3 programs that we have available. These provide funding from the Department of Cultural Affairs, the New York State Council on the Arts, and the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone. Oftentimes through creative engagement and UMass Arts engagement, we've been able to support projects such as poetry readings, for example. Open mics could be a great one to present and support, or spoken word presentations, or even maybe multidisciplinary presentations where there may be some arts, let's say concerts or visual arts presentations alongside maybe a spoken word presentation. So really open to a wide range of activities and really to support kind of your artistic practice and the presentation of projects. And then creative learning is our arts education focused program, which supports kind of sequential based arts education programming in a community based setting. And so a great example of projects we've been able to support through that program is a series of workshops, poetry workshops for adults or youth, or even a more intergenerational audience. So really 3 programs available to you in support of your arts presentation in 2022. And whether you have ideas or maybe want to find more information about them, I'll share in a moment more contact information. But one thing to know is that the deadline to apply is September 14th. So that's about a bit more over a month from now. Then the other thing that I wanted to share with you is that we have a series of professional development workshops through which we share knowledge and skills in raising resources to support your practices. So this is very helpful whether you're considering to apply to LMCC's programs or even just for your own personal practices. We had the first workshop last week, which was around grant writing basics for artists, but we have 2 more workshops coming up. The next one on work samples, do's and don'ts, which could be very helpful to apply to other grant opportunities, residencies, or other kind of open call type of opportunities. And then the 3rd workshop we have is around budgeting 101. And so primarily focused around how to put together a project budget based on maybe an idea of a project that you may want to do next year, or again, in your own personal practices. So you can find more information about these workshops by going to lmcc.net/workshops. All of them will be via Zoom. So you can join us from your house and connect with us while we teach some fundraising skills and resources. Finally, here I wanted to share the link for those who might be interested in learning more about LMCC's Manhattan Arts Grants. We are hosting information sessions at which we're going in depth about what the programs are about, what's the application process, and even into more examples of project activities we've been able to support. Our next information session is taking place tomorrow evening at 6 p.m., also via Zoom. So very excited to see some faces there. If interested, you can go to lmcc.net/RSVP to find the schedule of upcoming information sessions and links to register, including the one for tomorrow. And then, yeah, finally, I have my contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm happy to tell you more about the programs, talk with you about your practices, and if you are considering applying to next year, supporting you in preparing your applications. And yeah, hopefully, provide more funding to support your artistic practices next year. So that's the bulk of the info. I'll drop some links in the chat as well, so you have that available. But again, thank you so much for letting me be here with you, sharing this platform with you, hearing your amazing poems, and I'm gonna stick around to continue hearing more poems. And thank you, of course, to New York and Poets Cafe and Advocate Wordz for supporting LMCC and myself in being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lena. And I was going to ask you if we could get a quick do's or don'ts, but you're having a workshop on it. I want everyone to know that I am going, when you look, you can see the recording of this open mic. You can go back and get all of the information in case you missed it, because I know we had a bunch of information on there. But I do have one question, Lena, in terms of getting for the grants. We have some people who are not in New York, but they work with the cafe or they're willing to work with the cafe. Are there going to be ways for them to apply for grants if they say, hey, I want to do something with the cafe, and that's Lower Manhattan, even though I may be in Jersey or Connecticut? Would they be able to apply?
We can definitely look at that. It may be more that the cafe could potentially submit an application. We can look into that. But I would say that our programs, because it's funding coming from these government agencies with the city and the state, we do have this kind of very specific geographic focus where the individual artist, group, or organization has to be based in Manhattan, and the project activity also needs to be in Manhattan or certain Manhattan audiences if it's virtual. But just like we are doing that kind of re-granting of public funding for Manhattan, there are other agencies in each borough of New York City that do the same. So if you do not live in Manhattan, for example, but you live in Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island, or Queens, there are similar resources available to you. And so you can go to your local arts council to find out more about their programs and their timelines, as we do all have maybe slightly different timelines for when our cycles are open and when we are receiving applications. And then, yeah, I think I'm happy to also point you to other resources as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Because, we got a lot of New York artists here and I want to look after them, but we also have artists outside of the city and state. And I'd like for them to at least, learn or what can do. So I hope people do attend the workshops. Lena, I appreciate you. Yo, can I have everyone unmute themselves and give some love for Lena?
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you, Lena.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Lena.
And
Thank you,
so
Lena.
sharing that with us.
Thank you so much.
So kind of you. Yeah.
Thank you, Lena. And you see, the people love you. That means, Lena, when you get more money, you come to us first, all right? You come to our people first. We just showered you with love, so you come to us first. And if you hear about money any other place in the country, I got people all over the country looking for money, artists. Let me know. Appreciate you very much. Like I said, anyone who missed the info, at the end of the open mic, you can go onto the Facebook or YouTube of the New Eurekan Poets Cafe and rewatch it. And Lena starts speaking, I think about like 25 minutes in or so. You can scrub forward, get that information, jump on it. All right, let's continue with the poetry. That was awesome, Lena. I'm all kinds of inspired. Now I'm on the look. Next coming up is Ray Camacho. Where is Ray? I saw Ray earlier. Ray, we got a balloon. Uh-oh. Well, what do we got here? What do we got here, Ray?
Hello. Hi. I am doing a piece based off of Pennywise the Clown for Stephen King. And I am sorry, Lena, your presentation was beautiful, but my poem is very wild and crazy like myself. So I'm sorry. Totally ruined the mood. Let me begin. So I have two pieces. The first one is a micro poem that Stephen King wrote called Secret Admirer. Oh, also I'm very high. So if I mess up. Your hair is winter fire, January embers, my heart burns there too. Now my piece is called Yo Float Too. I was a child chasing a paper boat in the rain, afraid to watch as it went down the drain and into the sewers. There you were. Your eyes showed me that there was more to life, more to your disguise, more than your lies. Hiya, Georgie. What a nice boat. Do you want it back? Yes, please. You look like a nice boy. I bet you have a lot of friends. Not really. No one really notices me. I do write some poetry. Oh, I bet I can cheer you up. Do you want a balloon? I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers. Oh, I'm Pennywise, the dancing clown. Pennywise, meet Georgie. Georgie, meet Pennywise. Now we aren't strangers. What are you doing in the sewer? Pennywise the clown turned my deepest fear into reality. It wasn't a giant spider. It wasn't a teacup full of feces. It wasn't even my father molesting me. Pennywise turned into the best version of my ex, the version I thought was long past dead. Pennywise the clown came out of my shower, watched me as I bled down the drain. I thought he was laughing at me, but then I realized I'm just afraid I too will drip down that drain into your sewers. Pennywise the clown gave me head. He likes to salt his meat, so he turned into a dog and peed on me. Pennywise the clown fucked me in the ass. After he finished, I watched pieces of him and pieces of me drip down into the sewers, where I heard the voices of myself crying out for help and the voice of you being taken out on a stretcher. Have fun with Andrew, you whore! Your blood paintings made it all better because you left me with some art. God, I wish you were a better artist. You took a boat to my ancestors and stole their culture. You Pablo Picasso colonizing motherfucker. Pennywise the clown has a big dick. I told him how much I love to suck it, so he turned my deepest fear into reality. Maybe you think I was no longer afraid. The day before his birthday, we celebrated by him breaking up with me. Only temporarily, just long enough for him to fuck John, Dick, and Harry. I didn't know at the time and I took him back, so Pennywise thought I wasn't afraid anymore. Thought that I wouldn't cry. Thought that he should break my legs and chain me to the bed so I can rewrite our story. One where I wasn't the bloody prom queen. They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you. One where he didn't bury what was left of me in a pet cemetery. No, not the shitty the movie version. In fact, not even a pet cemetery. Let's read a book where you took my dog for me, you Cujo colonizing motherfucker. Hey, how about we just write a book together one that doesn't involve poetry. So Pennywise called me up the next day and told me my poetry triggered him. You're a piece of shit. Your entire fucking life and being triggers me. Your face triggers me, and your voice triggers me. I need to isolate myself from you. Force myself to write 8 years worth of poetry on your domestic violence. All work and no play makes Ray a dull boy. All work and no play makes Ray a dull boy. All work and no play makes Ray a dull boy. Pennywise the clown told me to look into his eyes, and I wanted to. Whether I'm his ex or his next victim, I know that if I look into his eyes, I'll float too. And I know if you look into my poetry, you'll float too. 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 You'll float too.
Unmute yourself.
Thanks, Ray.
I got crap my pants.
That's how you get it, though. That's how you get it, Ray. That's how you get that shit. Hell yeah.
You can follow Ray at Ray Did This. Make sure that you give him a follow. You never know on the open mics what you're gonna get. And I love that this community is always looking to try to get more creative and push the boundaries on Zoom. Shout out to Ray Camacho at Ray Did This. Make sure you give him a follow. He's only like this once a year, folks. Just once a year. All right, let's keep it moving. Next coming up is Deadpan Lizzie. And I recently found out that Deadpan Lizzie had a hole-in-one in golf. That is awesome. That's badass. And Deadpan Lizzie's gonna try to tell you that she caught a puck at a hockey game. She didn't. What happened is it hit off of some old lady, sent it to the hospital, and she picked it up and kept it. With that being said, Deadpan, let us know how we can follow you online, and then let's hear your poetry.
Yeah, if you want to follow me for real estate and old ladies and golf and poetry and theater and all the other stuff I do, you can find me at ES_Strauss, where my link tree is. I'm going to read a poem. I'm going to read a poem tonight called Zooey Deadpan Glass, about my favorite book, Franny and Zooey. And I wore my Glass family shirt, which represents all the Glass children from the J.D. Salinger novel. All right, here we go. If you listen clearly to me, I come off as a female Zooey Glass. I have no fucks left to give, as you well know by now. If you had a dime for every time I have said this in my poetry, you could pay off your student loans and the poet who is in the Zoom box next to you. I know I have talent. They say I'm so adorable they cannot control themselves. I am not as rude as Zooey. I do not body shame people, and I vote correctly. So if Zooey could vote, I imagine he would not be a moderate Democrat. But we do share so many similar qualities. We are artists, progressives, so we can get rather annoyed with our families. At the end of the day, we don't know what we'd do without them. And we are both so Jewish, it's almost overwhelming for shiksas, just trying to find the right Jewess for us. Sometimes we are too clever for our own good, but we cannot help ourselves, practicing schnickery when we are not creating art. And ladies, when I go to Strand or the Greenlight bookstore in Brooklyn to try to find one of you to take out to dinner, I will be perusing for the ones who are in the Salinger section, but not the ones looking at Catcher in the Rye. No one likes a protagonist who is a whiny brat. And before you fight me on this, both Franny and Zooey are brats, not well-rounded brats. And it's pronounced Zooey, not Zoe. I mean, to be fair, Zoo is in his name, not Zoe. It's not rocket science. And if it was, I wouldn't have the time to write poetry, let's be honest. I love Franny and Zooey so much, I named 2 characters in my own play after them. I've dedicated published political essays to them. The Glass family is my family. We have Les, Essie, Franny, Zooey, and Seymour. So my brother loves to disagree, and it's his birthday. But to the Leo brother with Taurus in him, your favorite book is Raise High the Roof Beam. You're too clever for your own good, but you do emote more buddy when this happens. But then again, I emote more web than Zooey sometimes. The Glass family's truth branches extend to the Strauss's forest. We are one of a kind bunch, like them, especially too clever for her own good. Zooey Deadpan Glass. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Keep going, Lizzie. Very nice.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I told you, Nathaniel.
Deadpan Lizzie, give her a follow, ES_Strauss. We call it Deadpan Lizzie because her delivery is deadpan, but her life has a bunch of words. I love me some Deadpan Lizzie. And you can ask her about that hockey puck story. It's hilarious. Go give her a follow. Make her tell you the story, all right? She told us she caught it. She didn't catch it. Some poor woman went to the hospital. Okay, let's keep it moving. I love it, I love it. Gigi is next. Let me unmute Gigi. And Gigi, of course, is on her feet. She's ready to go in. Go ahead, Gigi. Where can the people follow you? And then let's hear your poetry.
All right, so you can find me at a few places. You can find me first on my website at Arcadian-Poetry. On IG, it's iron_resilience. And on the 21st, you can catch me live in New York performing at the Wild Poets. So, hoping to see everyone there. All right, I got 2 poems. One of them is about my least favorite book, and then one of them's about my first favorite book. So, I guess I'll go with the least first. This one is called Books in Pelvises. My most used book is not my favorite. It is one passed down from mother to daughter, one whispered from grandmothers, seams and words stitched, etched in our bones. It is one on how to survive. A book, not a victim blaming, a victim resilience, a victim resourcefulness, ink laid in blood of sisters we won't ever get back. A book written on bodies, one uttered in kitchens, pages turned with keys interlocked in our hands, one we can't ever let the men hear because we often sleep with the enemy of another woman. My most used book is one I use daily, one I'm fearful of the ending, hoping I don't get a chapter titled, "This is how she died. This is what happened before the rape." No, those paragraphs and chapters have been started but never finished because I was able to escape. For now, these pages are always just a for now, never a resolve, a slaying of the enemy. If our enemies were slain, there wouldn't be untested rape kits piling up in police stations. If our enemies were slain during questions, no one would ask, "What were you wearing?" My most used book is one used daily. It is written in the bodies and backs of women etched in hymen blood, words that cradle in your hip bones, a book edged and written on pelvises. I dropped my poem. Give me a second. And I'm back. And the second one is such a dramatic poem, but then I'm so goddamn klutzy. All right, my second one is called My Favorite Book. My favorite book, it's not the Bible we read together. No, I wonder where God went long ago. It is one without words. This one is bound in the backing of my life. This book has no title. It is a collection of dates, all too foggy yet clear to clearly pinpoint. My favorite book is one of photos. It is a photo album nestled in a drawer in my room that once laid under a pillow, hoping that maybe it would bring me dreams, one I don't open often. Photos of memories compiled to tell a story, one without disabilities or fighting, one where my parents weren't anything but invincible, a clear-cut, romanticized vision of my life. This book isn't big enough. No, this book has a different ending. My fingers linger on the last pages, knowing what's coming. I want to stop this poem. I don't want to finish this book. The last few pages of this book, the smiles look weary. A pandemic and cancer that seep into photos. No more graduations or birthdays. No more smiles that light up a room. The last family photo of my parents' 39th anniversary. I want to flip forward and see their 40th. But then the photos stop. My favorite book, one collected throughout the years, one I don't open often, is a photo album. My favorite book is one, when I open it, you're still alive. Thank you.
Now, that's why.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Damn.
Oh, I gotta color it.
Damn.
Beautiful. You are a
Amazing.
goddess.
Hold in you,
Fire.
Gigi. Hold in
Eventually,
you.
maybe. When I have a
Thank
baby.
you. Iron_resilience. Give GG a follow. Oof. Ooh, some poems, they just get into your bones, you know? And I know I'm gonna sound stupid, but when I heard like, that they were married for 39 years, I look at Gigi, who looks like all but 21, and I think, why'd your parents wait 18 years to have you, Gigi? You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Shout out to Gigi's family. A lot of love to y'all. I appreciate y'all. We love that you've given this world Gigi, because now we get a piece of her. It's awesome. You guys are making me look so good in front of Lena. Did you not meet Lena? She has money, folks. You're making me look so good in front of her. Let's keep going. Next coming up is The Withdrawn. I appreciate the fresh new cut too. This man is ready to go, brother. You know the deal. Also, Lena, just beware, this is our wild card. Okay, so I'm just letting you know. Still, please offer the New Yo and me money. Okay, with Withdrawn. Let us know where we can find you online. Let's hear it, brother.
Thank you. Y'all can follow me at The Withdrawn on Instagram and thewithdrawn.com. And this piece is called, because poetic license. It was over once we discovered the bathroom and shower lights were able to change color. I could see through and admire your silhouette. Way before the TikTok challenge came out with Doja Cat. So bright it would escape and light up the whole room. The side multiplies what color it was that we wanted to chill and fuck to. Purple, yellow, red, blue. Crazy enough, our first day there, you made me nut all over the window of our Manhattan view. Taking pictures for each other and not the gram. Fucking cause I really love her, not just for the ass. It hits a lot different when you're involved in commitment. Intimacy leaves you both feeling like my guy Popeye off of the spinach. It isn't necessary to have these extra pillows. Yet I can see that would leave us a variety to choose from for putting your face in though. I'm so in love with the many and plenty sides of you I get. I swear one day in front and on one knee is a sight inside my mind I'm trying to plan. Neither can I forget the feeling of grabbing up your throat. Just pulling a yay 808 spade to try and touch your soul. Wanna watch you pop that pussy open like a portal. Testify that when I'm in it, I always feel immortal. Talking Kid Cudi unfuckwittable. So to mess with me would really be difficult. When I'm encompassed in your stomach, I swear my penis grows bigger. You feel like Florida in the winter. Trying to keep up with the heat like the CB drip that you see. Hit it while I'm wearing my Adventure Time earrings. Far from the land of lemon grab because I feel that the ass, your castle is in acceptable condition. Or the best, I'd rather say. I don't care about what you used to do back in the day. Like the March 8th, 2021 theme. If I said you didn't have the best ting, I promise that would be a joke. but we can save that poem for next week. I think staring at our reflection through the window glass pounding on your ass might be my favorite look. And for that, Citizen M right on Bowery just also might be my favorite hotel to book.
Addresses
Unmute
like
yourself,
for
give it up
doctors
for
and stuff. I make what
Withdrawn.
like the HIPAA forms that you gotta sign. I had to make 42 of those
That last line
for
was slick,
like the
Withdrawn. That last line was
defendant's
slick.
lawyer because they need.
It was that last line there. This hotel's my favorite one to book. Dirty dog, man. TheWithdrawn.com, at The Withdrawn, you could give him a follow, right? 1 minute, it's like he's like, 1 minute you're hearing the line and people are in the chat like, there goes the funding. And then the next line, it's like, oh, it's actually kind of romantic. And then another line, it's like, oh, there goes the funding. And then the next time, it's like, wow, that's really sweet and endearing. Give him a follow. Next coming up, we've got Elemental representing the Bay Area. Let me unmute this dude. Brother, it is always a pleasure to see you. Let the people know they can follow you. Then get into that fire. That's probably going to make the highlight reel. Go ahead.
I appreciate you, Advocate, to everyone who ripped before me and after. Much love. I truly appreciate your energy. Of course, Storm Gods in the building. Sound from the underground, Men Who Heal. There is a thing called Magic Mike coming up. Few folks in here. Check it out. It's going to be nice and kind of nasty. So check it out. Elemental.com. My book Calamity is out. Check in, plug in. Let's get it. Favorite book. This was a beautiful ride. Let's go. It started on Black Sunday. Fear came out to play, screams rang out in stadium of fans, no military presence, just reverence for beloved sport, how one contorts pleasure to weather balloon, bring doom to phases of life that excite senses with exquisite flavor. It's the taste of taboo. In grips of war where horror knocks on doors and cannon shells replace wedding bells. In madness we trust, in sickness and in health money fades, power remains in dead frames where love once kept a family alive until the monsters came. What is the price of survival when your soul howls Hunger Games, no primrose, just Mishka, scent of hope fading with every surrender that sounded like reinforcements? Where do you find nourishment for flourishing appetite of starvation? They made him, saved him, gave him purpose to thirst for master works and culinary arts to fill void of exploited beings. He began seething after seeing the truth of men, feeding his lust to skin every dollar hide that dared to play out of tune. He listens. With keen ear, Will Graham Bell marathon towards Rorschach test, Raspule butterfly effect at behest of doctor turned professor of terror to Mason Verger, Interpol lapdog, sniffing more truffles than greedy hogs. He moves outside of laws. Mind games take place of sanity. He happily pulls strings, trapeze ringleader with Geppetto grin, captain of twisted ship floating into beast mode, Wendigo. Hungry for taste of sweetbreads, he said, tell me a story, let me. Buffalo Bill, most wanted, startling advisor, reminder, criminal minds never take breaks. Meditate on escape wearing bloody face, left crucifixion as beautiful distraction for subtraction of X Factor. Brain matter connoisseur, red dragon scales bite down like tooth fairies, breaking reflections of self through grandma's diary with eyes. Dead as Krindler thoughts, paint lip gloss and blood loss to keep the scene spicy, hiding in trees with deadly intentions. Such a fool. He whispered to the devil, I know who you are, stepped just a bit too far over ledge, found his head dangling, vulture buffet, entrails on display. Careful how you cross paths with an omnivore. They delight in live flesh like Murasaki sundress, swordplay sunsets. He relishes his freedom, worth risking life and limb to keep captured, left to grim reaper, never air breather. This ultimate deceiver. Dreamweaver of the sickest order, exploiter of paranoia with an accent of true villainy. It is he who brought color to my creations by way of Thomas Harris, gave birth to worst nightmare a mind could enjoy. It was a simple quid pro quo, a courtesy bow after a gracious dance between a cannibal in a cage and a wolf, hoping to find the silence of the lambs.
Unmute yourself.
Oh,
Give it up.
Who does it again?
Holy shit.
Fire, fire.
With that flow.
It's almost like there was a storm. Like a storm.
Elemental.com. When you spell elemental, you take the T out and you put the 2 in. As I said before, now that you heard the end of his poem, you're like, wait, now I got to go hear all that poem. Now I know he's talking about, I got to go hear the rest of the poem. New Rican Poets Cafe on Facebook and YouTube. Look us up. Elemental. He also has his own YouTube page. Look him up, where he has taken the recordings that we have done here and he has cut it out and put up just like his portion. So if you want to go listen to him, and I encourage all of you, if you have a YouTube, go ahead and do that, right? Like if it's your image and your poem, like grab yourself and put it up there. Of course, I really would like you to say that you did this on the Monday Night Online Open Mic, and like Advocate of Words is just a fantastic host. But other than that, feel free to go do that, man. Share it, right? Like share it. It's your work, man. And what I really want, I've been saying this from the beginning, I want the Monday Night Online Open Mic to exist outside of Mondays, and that's one way it totally can. You're coming up here in this open mic, expand upon what you've done here, put it on your YouTube. I love that Elemental's doing that. Elemental.com. When you spell elemental, take the T out, put the 2 in. Now we going to Rich Daddy Glennon. Where is he? I didn't see him. Oh, there he is. There he is. Yes, and we call him Daddy Glennon because we knew when he was undaddy and everyone had to hide their girlfriends and wives because he was on the hunt. But he's a good man now. He's a great father. And yeah, he still spends time with us. I love it. Rich, let people know where they can find you. Then let's get into your poetry, brother. Whoa, we don't hear you. You're unmuted, but we don't hear you. We see that beautiful daddy face, but we don't hear you. Get it together, daddy. You got a kid. You got a kid. You know, you got to keep everything in order because the kid is going to mess everything up. You cannot mess up. I think he's plugging it in. I give him a few more seconds. Let's see if that works. And if it doesn't, I can go to the next person and call him. Does it work? Nope. I don't hear you. All right. Don't worry, Rich. I'm going to give you time to work on it. I'm going to come back to you. Let me call the next person. And then then I'll come back to you. All right. Thumbs up. Cool. Cool. Do you hear me? I don't think he can hear us. All right. I'll come back to him. Let's go to Dominique Colden. Dominique was prominently featured on one of our last highlight reels. Where is she? Oh. And this woman is so nice to me. In the emails and stuff I keep, because of my dyslexia, I keep missing one of the I's in Dominique. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, I've done that a couple of times. Dominique, I am so sorry. I appreciate you coming back in your energy. Let the people know where they can find you online, and let's hear your poetry.
Hey, everyone. You can find me on Instagram at dtruthandlove, and I'll put it in the chat as well. So I got a brand new spanking piece for y'all tonight. It's not on theme, and it's a little bit different than my other pieces, but hopefully you'll enjoy it, and it's called Broken and Beautiful. Buried treasure, longing to be found, excavated in measure, once trashed, devalued, forgotten, shattered and split, tattered and torn, seemingly broken beyond repair. Upon closer inspection, you were bent, almost broken. Yet, if you happen to break, you do not forsake your truth. Beautiful are the broken pieces, parts of a whole, bonded in gold, glistening like kintsugi pottery. Take these broken wings. I need your hands to come and heal me once again, so I can fly till the end of time, till the end of time. The deafening cries of agony as a potter shapes, molds, and folds, gently massaging your broken heart, piercing the stone, melting the ice, waterfalls bursting forth. Let the tears come. Let the tears erase your fears. Let the tears come. Let them cleanse you. Let the tears flow. Lean in to let go. Lean in to let go. To transcend, one must bend, even to the point of break. Break down the barriers and walls. Incinerate like the phoenix, rising from the ashes, releasing fire, passion, and desires, all beautifully divine. The divinity in me accepts the divinity in you. Beautiful like the lotus flower, blooming from the murky, muddy waters. Beautiful like velvet steel, feeling strong and supple, softly caressing each contour of your frame. Beautiful are the sounds that escape, enraptured, as we make love under the stars, bathed in the silvery glow of the moon. Beautiful are her phases, each cycle of the blood, crimson renewal. To life, lifeblood, spark of creation, harnessing the divinity, divine masculinity, and divine femininity, initiated by the ancestry, the universe, spirit, Mama Oya, and Goddess Oshun. If this is brokenness, then I don't want to be fixed. Broken and beautiful, beautifully broken, receiving the beauty in the ashes. Soot and soil, concrete roses brimming to full bloom.
Unmute yourselves, give it up. for
Oh, Dominique, that's how you
Oh,
majestic.
love that last line.
Majestic.
Oh, that was fresh. That was damn fresh. Holy moly.
Crazy good.
The
Peace.
singing was beautiful. Mm.
Dominique Colden at D Truth and Love. Give her a follow. Vale, I just got your message. Those of you who are sending me messages, I'm missing a lot of it because I'm hosting this stuff. But I want you to know, Vale, I just got your message. And Marissa, I also got your message. So we are good to go on that. So Dominique Colden, give her a follow. For the very least, man, I keep spelling that woman's name wrong. She's still coming back. What a patient woman. And she hasn't cut me. I appreciate that. All right. Rich Glennon is now back. Where is he? He said he's back. Apparently he fixed it. Now that he knows how to daddy, he doesn't know how to internet, I guess. There we go. I hear you, Rich. Let the people know where they can find you online. Now let's get into it.
Rich Glidden on Tumblr and Instagram. And I'll go into it. 2 pretty short poems today. This first one is called A Napkin. Never in my life have I received a napkin when I've asked for a napkin. My grandmother would hand me a pair, each folded once like a pamphlet, one to use now, one later. My mother says, "Help yourself," and presents to me the impossibly stuffed napkin holder, which a single tug disembowels. My wife slams down a fistful as if she's ripped it from a sheep's side. But nobody has ever given me one solitary napkin. It's as if those I've dined with know me better than I know myself, and rather than handing me a single sheet, provide instead a pillow, because judging by the shadow of my bean goatee, it's way past my bedtime. And this next poem is called Show. My friend's baby was born 5 days ago. They said they witnessed his very first fountain show, which made me smile. It wasn't until after the fact that I wish I asked them how it tasted. Instead, My response was sentimental and lacking any wit whatsoever. In other words, appropriate. So many people must think I'm a well-mannered person who generally says the right things. But if they only knew how I live in regret for not choosing the riskier of responses time after time that might blow out the windows of the conversation with laughter, flash fry the moment into the meaty memories of my dear friends, and make onlookers wish they were involved instead of reading the side of their Starbucks. To the citizens of the world, I am a trimmed hedge who doesn't hog the sidewalk and stays within my edges. But in reality, I will always be the untamed bush within, exploding behind neat faces. Thank you.
What? Give it up for Rich Glenn.
Oh,
Oh, Rich, dope.
Again,
Daddy poet. Daddy poet.
so good, Rich.
What? That was nuts. The whole hedges, and then like I'm thinking like well trimmed and sidewalks, and then like I don't even appreciate that people trim their hedges when I'm walking on sidewalk. Like, yo, look, Rich Glenn, look this dude up, man. Look this dude up. I appreciate that everyone like has their own voice and their own style. I love all of it, man. And I'm glad that Rich is learning how to daddy. Doesn't mean you can forget how to learn the internet, brother, but I'm glad that you're still here. All right, real quick, I want to remind people who may have come in late. This is the Monday night online open mic presented by the New York Poets Cafe. You could join us on Zoom. The number's on the left-hand side of the screen, 279-995-364. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. If you would like to see the recordings of our open mics, you can go to our Facebook and YouTube. And of course, you can follow me at Advocate of Wordz, and my hair only looks that good in animation. The sign up for tonight has been closed, but the sign-ups begin 24 hours before the show on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. In order to sign up, you go and visit newurican.org, and then you click full events calendar. When you get to there, you click on the Monday you're signing up for. So next week would be the 16th. You would be clicking on the 16th, and you would order an artist RSVP ticket. It's the only way you could get onto the open mic, whether the guaranteed list or the waiting list. The first 25 to sign up are guaranteed. The next after that are put on the waiting list, and then it closes. This open mic, the first 30 people to sign up did so within 40 seconds. So I suggest if you want to sign up, you get there early, on time, and you do some refreshing. Also, August 21st, I will show the graphic later. August 21st, we are doing Wild Poets. The Wild Project and the New York Poets Cafe are teaming up again to shut the block down so that we can have an outdoor performance. It's on August 21st from 2 to 5 p.m. in front of Wild Project, which is literally 1 block west of the New York Poets Cafe. It's going to be on 3rd Street and Avenue B. I believe to sign up for the list has been closed. There was some confusion on when they were going to open it. I wasn't sure, but we do have a wait list. And anyone who knows me, if we got 3 hours to do an open mic and we only have 20 people on the guaranteed list, I'm getting through that. We're getting onto the waiting list. So please make sure that y'all come down and check it out. Also on August 21st at noon, I will be performing at Lincoln Center. I am so excited about that. I haven't rocked at Lincoln Center in 2 years. So like, ooh, I'm excited. Then on August 21st at night, we are having our online, offline open mic. In order to sign up for that, to sign up if you want to perform on the online part is going to be, I think we're going to open it on Friday. Sometime next week, I will let you know about that. In terms of those performing offline, I'm going to be reaching out to a few people that I know that are local and they're always on the open mic so that we could start this. Right now, this is very much a test. I want to do this once a month. So those of you who may be local, those of you who could make it to New York City and you're like, oh, I want to be part of the first one and I'm unable to get you on part of the first one, I can do the second or the third one. This is just the beginning. I got plans. Also, we are having an unofficial after party, which you can totally come and be part of. And then we can tell you all the dirty secrets about the first one. Ha ha ha. Okay, next coming up, Jeff Cottrell. Where's Jeff Cottrell? There he is. The
There
man
I
who can
is.
sell fire to the devil. Okay, Jeff, let us know where we can find you online.
Right. Find me online at jeffcottrell.com or Facebook and or Twitter and or Wattpad. And I have a piece that's actually on theme, or at least it references one of my favorite books. Some of you have already heard it. Sympatica Books, Inc. Dear Mr. Orwell, thank you very much for your interest in Sympatica Books, Inc. We have reviewed your submitted manuscript, The Animal Farm, and we have decided, regrettably, that it is not the right fit for our lineup. Although your novella is well written and has a few interesting ideas, we feel that it also has some serious issues and needs a lot of work. Our main problem with your manuscript is the characters, specifically that none of them is very likable. There isn't a single one a reader can root for. We feel strongly that main characters in fiction must always be likable and never have any flaws or do anything the reader might disagree with. Most of the pigs in Animals Farm are so nasty and power obsessed, and they do many cruel things to the other animals. They kill them, they lie to them and manipulate them, they betray them. How is a person supposed to relate to that kind of behavior? Nobody's like that in real life. And even the animals who are victims of the abuse, you don't feel much for them either, Mr. Orwells. They don't fight back or try to win the day. They just take all the oppression passively. That's so depressing. A reader needs to cheer somebody on to be a hero, but your book doesn't deliver that. Our other big issue with your manuscript is the story itself, that it's just so unbelievable and unrealistic. A group of farm animals drive the owner away and take over the farm? Don't you find that a little far-fetched, Mr. Wells? A little hard to imagine? Animals can get a little rambunctious now and then, but they could never take over a whole farm like that. And even if they did, it's hard to believe they would run the farm so poorly. There's so much corruption among the pigs that the whole thing turns into a virtual dictatorship. I don't think that could happen even with human beings, let alone with animals. You're not giving the reader much credit. Our team at Sympatica Books, Inc. is confused about your goals for Animal Farms. It's too violent and intense for a children's book, and it's too dark and pessimistic for a fantasy. We can't imagine what kind of demographic you're aiming for, or why anyone would want to spend their free time with these characters. But I have some good news. Our focus group of beta readers has come up with some constructive suggestions that may help you improve your book. First, instead of all those mean pigs, why not have one really nice pig? And give the nice pig a friend or two. I think it's sad that you never gave the animals any good friendships, but I bet the reader would love to see one. Maybe the nice pig has a cute little spider friend who weaves nice messages about the pig in her web, and that sends the pig on some fun adventures. Don't you think that would make a good kid's book? I think so. And maybe the nice pig learns how to herd sheep, and he goes on to win a sheep herding competition. That would send an uplifting message about believing in yourself. Another issue, our beta readers don't like the catchphrase you gave to Boxer the horse. I will work harder? Nobody's ever going to quote that. We came up with a better catchphrase. A horse is a horse. Of course, of course. See, now that's catchy and fun. That's what a reader wants. Now, the point I'm trying to make, after the years pass and we're all rotting in the ground, the generations after us will remember only one thing about our literature. It's marketability. Please keep working hard at your writing, and maybe someday you'll get a lot better at it and write something worth publishing, Mr. Orson, something with a fun plot and a likable hero. Like that nice Nancy Drew. Now she's a plucky little one. Why don't you give us a character like that? That would be swell. Sincerely, Sympatica Books, Inc. Books for people who don't want a challenge. That was me.
Unmute yourselves. Give it up for
Yeah.
Jeff Cottrell.
Yes.
And we've seen that one. Thank you very much.
I think I remember seeing you do that one live, Jeff.
You're a master of satire, Jeff. Well,
Jeff Cottrell, when you spell Cottrell, that is with 2 L's at the end, jeffcottrell.com. Go give this dude a follow. I love Jeff. And I said this before when I heard him do this poem. Like, you gotta go read Animal Farm. Such a brilliant book, and it's an easy read. I promise it's an easy read. But before you go read that, go follow Jeff Cottrell. JeffCottrell.com, COTTRILL. Our friend across the border up in Canada, for all you people who automatically think Mexico. We are going to break the stereotype. Okay, next coming up, we have Nick Paleologos, our cult leader. There we go. Nick, you know the deal, brother. Let people know they can find you, and let's get into it.
Right in my name, the real Nick P right there. Let's do this. I hate picking a favorite book, by the way. So I did a series. This one's called The Book Series That Shaped Me. I don't exactly have a favorite book. If you were to ask me that, might as well ask me which Greek letter I like the best. However, I will appease the theme with a series of unfortunate events from a bad beginning to the austere academy. Lemony Snicket did not have lemons in his eyes when writing this, narrating with curry, law, and Wartburn in the throat, rising from the stomach, churning and spitting up genius. Imagining Violet, Klaus, and Sonny escaping Count Olaf and the carnivorous carnival from foster to foster, a vile village, a hostile hospital, from danger to danger, inventing with raw materials, researching the reptile room with an incredibly deadly viper in there, biting bitter apples. Illusions weren't illusions of the vivid imagination. Dark artistry infused within my body. I fell into a slippery slope that turned into a grim grotto. That penultimatum peril was getting to me. I thought that was the end of my sanity. I was mistaken. It was only the beginning. Unfortunate events meant catastrophe in my dictionary. As the series ended, Mr. Poe came into my life. I found poetry from him. I didn't know that it would save me. I was 16, still trying to discover my identity. I grew and pulled myself out of the ersatz elevator with a grappling hook made of paper clips. It was then I entered the miserable mill, hypnotized into trance. I was able to understand colors as I escaped out the wide window. I flew with the birds sky high. I tasted clouds. It doesn't taste like cotton candy. It tasted like wool. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend you consume poetry instead. Through poetry, I will produce the book that will be my favorite for all to enjoy. Adverse Reaction, Winter 2021. Maybe the feeling I'm embracing is similar to what Lemony and other artists have felt when they grasp the concept of it. It's coming. Are you ready for it? I'll await for your answer in the winter when it's in your hands.
Unmute yourself.
X10 in the house. X10 in the
Looking
house.
forward, Nick. Looking forward.
At the real Nick P. He also hosts his own open mic on Wednesdays. Make sure that you give him a follow. Love this dude. That's his thing. Mic drop. He's like, that's his thing. Some people he say end poem. We're very polite, but you know he's a cult leader, so like he drops the microphone. Appreciate you, Nick. At the real Nick P. Want to give some shout outs to some people who I see in the room that did not sign up but have come to hang out. Like I see Mia Aguilera. Mia is replacing Sam Park. We don't know where Sam is, but we love us some Mia. Shout out to Mia. Mia's looking like, oh shoot, man, I gotta let Sam know it's on it popping. Sam's about to write another bad poem about me. Shout out to Joshua Kernia. Look at him, man. You looking like a model sitting on the leather couch, and the way the sun is hitting you through the curtains. It's looking good, man. Of course, Whitney Salgado is here to show off her fresh haircut, like 2-3 weeks old, right? Like it's still relatively new. You need to follow Whitney. She is all kinds of awesome. She is a fantastic artist. You also got Poetic Desire here, who's a mainstay, who's not on the list. Loves hearing Poetic Desire. Look her up, my fellow Pisces. Also got Jeremy Lissimo, a longtime mainstay here, who actually hosts a open mic on Mondays right before this one. Look up Jeremy Lissimo. Make sure you give him a follow. I see Scott Pleasance here as well. It's always pleasant to see this dude. Got to hear him perform when was it? Oh, it was like, was it yesterday? Not too long ago. I went to someone else. I've been to a bunch of other people's open mics getting to hear people. So we also got our man in Japan, Boaraku. I love this dude. I don't know what he's doing with the mirror. Is that supposed to be like a beret or something? That is awesome with the mirror. Shout out to Boaraku out in Japan. Luciana, happy birthday, Luciana. She is turning 21. She's now legally allowed to drink. We appreciate her. She is out in Brazil, hanging out with us, learning English and translating it into Portuguese. So can't wait to get her on the open mic. And then folks, oh, look out, folks. I hope you haven't shared any information because we have a former employee of TMZ who is here in the building watching us. I see you. Shout out to Mariella. It's very late out in Europe. I appreciate it. Yup. Mariella used to work for TMZ. You believe that she worked for TMZ? We still accept her. We forgive you for that. Because we like your accent, Mariella. Shout out to her. All right. I'm going to be shouting out other people too, but I want to get back to the open mic so we can keep it moving along. Next coming up also, I'm going to be adding on 10 minutes at the end of the open mic. Instead of 10:30, we're going to end at 10:40 because we had the special presentation. So I want to end, give the poets some more time. Mark Thompson is next.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize I was next. I thought it was Bill.
You
anyway,
good to see you. Let us know how we can follow you online and get into it.
Thank you. You can follow me at Ron Mark Thompson on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and my organization Bronx Art and Fun Hub at Facebook, at BXAFH, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and free workshops. I put that information in. We have writing prompts this week, stage play reading next week, and Marissa will teach a grief writing workshop 2 weeks from now. So I will put that all on social media. All right, Advocate, my favorite book. My favorite book is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. And I'm gonna read you the first 400 pages from that book. Oh my God, I'm just kidding. I never seen Advocate going to that mute button so fast. Okay. All right. No, the truth is I don't really have one favorite book. Yes, there are many books I have read. As a kid, I used to love to read fairy tales and fables, which sadly I now dread. That all was long before Harry Potter took that train or the Twilight vampires and wolves came to reign. In my 20s and 30s, I worked my ass off and never had the time to read. When I tried to do so on the train, I usually nodded off. Or maybe it was the weed. Then in my 40s, I discovered fellow writers at my local library. I learned a lot from them. They gave me much help and edits. And of course, I also bought and read their books. For example, one of my favorite novels was and is Doing Hair by my colleague Pauline Binder. Or Let There Be Light by Ted Mishansky. Great reading, interesting story, trust me. A good friend of mine, Lady Tiffany, penned a wonderful poetry collection 2 years ago, The Dreamer. It is one of my favorites, especially in the morning when I wake up and need something uplifting to transform my own dreams into a new productive day. Then the pandemic came last year and I thought that was it. No more writing, no more reading, no more performing. But I was wrong. The opposite was true. I met new friends, fellow poets, fellow writers, all in Zoom. Many are present here tonight in this beautiful virtual room. Social unrest was on call in America last summer. Many here contributed to the powerful anthology, I Can Breathe. I should not call it one of my favorites because I wish we did not need to write and read these poems and stories. But our country still needs to learn and grow and unravel. So I recommend you read this book from beginning to end as well. I then contributed my own favorite poems and essays to the Bronx Memo Project, where I'm from, and Love Letters to Gaia. You should make them your favorite books. My friends gave me so much energy. They cheer me on in open mics. They lift me up in mental support groups. They inspire me. So of course, their books I buy are now my new favorites too, like Finn Bell's here, or Paul Conquesos from last year. Or this one I just got fresh 2 days ago in person delivered by Matthew Marroquin. I haven't had the time yet to read this book, but I'm sure it will be one of my new favorites before the end of this week. Side note for those I didn't mention or show, sorry, I didn't have a chance to go back to my postal mailbox. I didn't order them yet, so please be patient. So as I'm looking at all these books and all the money I spend, now it makes sense why I can't pay my rent and I may be out of food soon. But trust me, all these books have kept my mind nourished, and that will keep me afloat for the next years. And in those next years, I will write myself a new favorite. Oh yes, I will keep clanking those keys on my keyboard bit by bit. My own life story, my own memoir, all those words and lines I will cook as I predict that my own experiences and tears will become my actual most favorite ever book. Thank you.
Unmute yourself. Give some
Ron, that was
Beautiful, Ron.
I agree with you.
Why did I call
Killer,
Andy?
man.
Hey,
Killer, Ron. That was
Definitely gonna be
killer.
around for that.
Prayers to
Ron Mark Thompson, you could look up Bronx Fun Hub. He is like the biggest cheerleader of the community. We love this dude so much, man. And he gets creative on his Zoom and what he puts in the background. And that's we're okay that he's keeping an emoji hostage. That's why we haven't called the FBI to let him know that the emoji's being hostage. We let him get away with it because he's so awesome, Ron Mark Thompson. I also saw Luis Santiago step into the building. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you being here. Also, Vasilios is here. I love you, dude. Good to see you. Terry Rose Jertson. Terry Rose Jertson was the 100th person to sign up in season 2. So Terry has the golden ticket. When Terry's like, I'm skipping all of y'all that ain't even signed up. I'm going to rock out right now. She has it. She's the only one to have it. And a reminder to Mariella, no one thinks it's cool. You used to work at TMZ, just to let you know. No one thinks it's cool. All right. Now what we got, Vale Larkin is supposed to come up. But unfortunately, Vale is unable to speak. Vale is in here with us. So Vale went ahead and was like, don't worry, I got Michael Jordan to help me out with this. And Vale hit up Mary Blenderman, right? We did better than Jordan. So, but the thing is, Mary Blenderman also is about to come up next to share a Mary Blenderman poem. So Mary's gonna go back to back. Mary, you can decide, would you like to start with Vale's or would you like to start with your own? It is however you want. The time is yours.
Oh, we gotta start with Vale, of course.
Okay, awesome. So this is Vale Larkin's poem. Look, Mary knows what she's doing. She'll explain. Go ahead, Mary. The floor is yours.
Okay. For those of you who will get this reference, I just want to say I am honored to be the voice of Night Vale. Hello, I'm Vale Larkin, and I'm a disabled wheelchair user. Because of problems with my voice, this piece will be read by Mary Blenderman, my fellow transplant Pittsburgher. My desert island book would be The Ground Beneath Her Feet by Salman Rushdie. It's got a wealth of detail in it, from the history of rock and roll to theoretical quantum phenomena. It's also kind of a retelling of the Orpheus and Eurydice myth, where Eurydice is killed and taken down to Hades, and Orpheus tries to follow and bring her home. This poem is also based on both the myth and the novel, as in homage to the approach as well as the subject. Vale's poem is called Eurydice or Vina Descends. She is always in photographs, frozen, like she exists only in flashbulb memory as an image, an idea, an ideal. His genius is lauded, and his vigor, and his disdain. She is not permitted. She is loose and loud, or cold, frigid, and unforgiven. The same eyes see them into black and white avatars. He is Genesis, and she is Revelations, creation and the deadly show. Her own genius shines in every word, glance, touch, and they acknowledge none of it. When she fell beneath the streets that raised her, beneath the earth she could never clean from her face, they stood bewildered as he followed her down. Order never should come after chaos, they cried. They would not see how he had only ever followed, planting in ground she'd already broken.
Ooh. Let's wait 1 second. Let's have everyone unmute themselves for Vale Larkin's poem. Unmute
Oh
yourself.
yeah!
That was amazing.
Freaking Vale, that was dope.
Love it.
Under Vale.
The word
I love so great.
That was
Oh, I love Vale Larkin, V-A-Y-L Larkin. Go look Vale up. And you know Vale's all kinds of dope. And Vale's like, yep, I'm just going to hit Mary Blenderman, who's all kinds of awesome on the hip to represent for me. Like, what? I would be an awesome writer if you could do that with Mary, because Mary's my 2021 Valentine. Mary don't mess with no one. Mary's the truth. So we're going to get to Mary. Shout out to Jen Monique, who I saw just popped in and out. Go ahead. So Mary, now it's your turn. Now we're gonna hear your poetry. Now everyone's gonna understand why I keep calling you MJ. Let them know where they find you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Wow, that was just so lovely to read. Great work, Vale. Vale's fucking dope. Go follow them if you haven't. If you want to be my friend on the internet, you got to be real old-fashioned and go to my website at maryblenderman.com and send me an email. I'm going to put it in the chat, and along with it, I'm going to give you some book recommendations. These are the books over the last couple of months. I think they're all new, and they've kind of been helping me keep my head on right and fuck up some diet culture. So I had to write this poem so that I could write, other things. The title comes from a Marty McConnell poem. And this poem has some thematic material related to disordered eating, so please take care while listening. It doesn't mention any specific foods or numbers in case that's something you watch out for. And before I read, please join me in taking a deep breath in and out. This is called And You Are Not Stupid. Last night, I was a statue on the sidewalk while 5 rabbits feasted on somebody's front lawn, content in their chewing, soft bellies stretching in ruminative half hops toward the next mouthful. This marvel. Some animals survive without apologizing. There's a lost boy in Neverland who looks like me. I'm subsisting on pixie dust, trying to get light enough to fly back there and tell him when I see him in the mirror, I know he's thinking of me. There's a clock ticking like a bomb in my stomach. I know exactly how long it's been. I'm a snowman anxious for spring. I'm going to dig an escape tunnel with an empty spoon. The world shrinks to the size of my stomach when my stomach is empty. The sound of hunger is a headache of static at full volume. At least there's no airtime for reruns of all my mistakes and the punches I took thinking they were kisses. The brain a patient blade, a stubborn compass. No doubt when St. Catherine of Siena refused everything but the Eucharist, It felt like devotion to be so consumed. All my false hopes are kidnapped by facts. Restriction is a biological trigger for binging. Any sense of hollow brilliance is a star on the verge of collapse. The supernova always becomes the black hole. I can't become light enough to escape. My body is a cosmic survival machine. Last night, I sat on the grass and watched tiny girls float upside down in the palms of their men, and I dreamed of becoming an astronaut, doing handstands on the moon, waving to the mermaids in their distant blue lagoon. If not for gravity, I'd already be gone.
Unmute
Oh my God! Wow. Last line. That last line.
That was fantastic.
That is amazing.
Amazing, amazing.
Tugged on my heartstrings.
Big
and
thumbs
was
up.
so beautiful.
Mary Blenderman, maryblenderman.com. 2 N's at the end when you spell Blenderman, MANN. Go check her out. Go hit her up on the email. She's a beast. She's a beast. I don't care what poet you bring. I will fight you so long as Mary got my back. As long as I know Mary got my back, I will fight any poet. All right. With that being said, next coming up, Michael Sindler. Let me unmute Michael Sindler. And before Michael speaks, everyone just look at that beautiful hair, man. You know, now that I've noticed his beautiful, like I can't stop looking at it. I'm sorry, Michael, I do want you here for your poetry, but the hair, I love it. All right, you know the deal, Michael. Floor is yours, brother.
Okay. You know, I gotta say, you know, as well as, you know, her beautiful poetry, I love the way Mary starts with that breath and just really brings us to the moment. That is such a sweet gesture. I love that. And I want to, as always, go ahead and put in my plug for lighthousewriters.org here in Denver and everywhere, thanks to the interweb, which does such great things. So many great free events and classes and all that stuff. Books. A book that for many years, my original sort of favorite book, and you know, never really goes away. And there's one passage in it that has sort of been my thing all my life, and it's from The Little Prince, and it's the fox when he says, "And now, here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." And I can't argue with that. Moving on, when I started really getting into poetry and all the beats and all of that, I was lucky enough to find a bookstore that sold all those little black and white city lights books. And this is for the guy who made all those possible and made Howl possible, among other things. But this is for his last birthday. This is Ferlinghetti 101. Lawrence, you may have had tongue in cheek when you told us the world is a beautiful place to be born into, but it is more beautiful for having you in it, for having all those black and white thin paperbacks full of beads and all those hats full of hope. And a lot of people probably know on the first day of January every year, books that are 75 years old go into the public domain. So this year, I wrote one for a public domain book, and this is Daisy's Dilemma. Votes against the current, bitches. Gads begotten Daisy's britches. Such a shame he couldn't drive a car. That bump they hit was a hill too far. Yes, Myrtle's George shot old Jay, but Nick should have kept his damn mouth shut. And though the light still remains green, there's no going forward for a broken dream ceaselessly born into the past. Some say Scotty's tale is unsurpassed, but if you ask me, the entire cast is a bunch of pompous horses' asses. But as we all know, I'm going to end with, I'm thinking I still got a minute here. My all-time favorite writer, of course, is Willie the Shake. And this is a takeoff. This is The Quantity of Mercy from The Menace of Kavanaugh for C.B. Ford, with apologies to Willie the Shake. The quantity of mercy is off-strained. It drops charges, ignores blame, treats women as if a race beneath. It cheats twice. Yes, it forgives him that beats and him that rates. 'Tis easiest upon the mightiest. It becomes the privileged male to act the vengeful clown. His status bends the force of judicial power, thus able to make awful travesty, wherein does sit as peer and pull at strings. But mercy is absent, justice decays. Privilege enthroned at the heart of things is an affront to suffrage itself, as unearned power doth then skew all odds when mercy pleads for justice. Therefore, true, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in this court of just us, none of us should see salvation. He who plays for party and that same power does sour all he renders, this thief of mercy. He will do thus much to mutilate justice for the worthy, which, if thou follow this warped court of vengeance, will thus give sentence gainst the women there. Okay, thank y'all very much.
Unmute yourselves. Give it up for Michael.
Oh, Michael.
Yes.
Well.
Thank you. Fireside chat with Michael Sindler. Be awesome.
Michael Sindler, go give lighthousewriters.org a look. One more time, thank you to Lena from LMCC. She is taking off. Y'all made me look so good in front of her. I'm telling you, she's gonna be coming back again. You watch, man, and she's gonna have money. She's gonna be like, look, we're gonna tell people in 3 months we got money, but I'm gonna let you know right now. And I'm gonna let all of y'all know. Thank you, Lena. I appreciate you so much. Again, Michael Sindler, a mainstay at the Monday Night Online Open Mic. He likes to promote lighthousewriters.org. When it's light, it's LIGHT, lighthousewriters.org. Give them a look. Go check them out, because, you know, Michael in that Maine, he's in the witness protection program, man. Everyone's after the hair. Okay, next coming up, we got Roz from the Bronx. Where is Roz? There she is, Roz. The woman who has yet to find the color she looks bad in. I don't know. All of us look bad at least in one color. Roz, not yet. We are going to find the color. Anyway.
I'll find it. I'll find it for you. I promise.
Let the people know where they can find you, and then let's get into it, sis.
Through Her Big Brown Eyes on Instagram and throughherbigbrowneyes.com. And be on the lookout. My book is coming this winter. I'm so excited. But anyway, this piece is called Bookworm's Promise, and it goes like this. Wide awake and eager to indulge in you, getting lost in each page with nothing but the love in my heart lighting the way through, in search for it all to make sense. In love with how each letter is part of a word, each word part of your sentence. Table of contents, fully loaded prior to my arrival. Dedication page with my name as a repeated pattern. Wondering which title would perfectly define you, hoping to read just enough to know exactly what you mean. Beyond the imagery caused by ink on the page, engaged, just enough to stay, tangled in your world, enough to see you every time I close my eyes. Enough to read between the lines. When you introduce yourself, feel free to dive so deep, I promise. Not even the folds on the corners of your pages will deter me from continuing to read. And by read, I mean study. From cover to cover, with some sentences highlighted, some words underlined. By the time I'm done reading, the world will know you've been loved by me, because I will be spread out through your acknowledgement page, and the About You section will smell of my perfume, cuddled up in my room, dissecting the pages and fully submerged in you. Let's be main characters in the sequel. Together, let's help the readers comprehend what it's like never to collect dust on a shelf again. End poem.
Unmute yourselves, give it up for
Roz,
Roz,
Roz.
that was amazing. To collect dust again.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I love you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Love you too.
Roz from the Bronx, give her a follow through her bigbrowneyes.com at through her big brown eyes. She's got a big show coming up. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the date. I'm just gonna say that there's a big show coming up, and a wonderful and fantastic host is going to be part of it. That's all I'm going to tell you, okay? Give her a follow through her bigbrowneyes.com. Ah, I love it. Okay, let's keep it moving. This community is great. And as great as this community is, we're going to have to leave the open mic for a second, and we're going to have to travel into the skip verse. Yes. Oh, wait. I just tried to unmute him and it moved. Wait, there he is. The OG, the Jedi Master, Mr. Paul Skiv. Paul, brother, you know the deal. Let the people know where they can find you online, and then we ready for the Skiv verse.
Yeah, thanks again, Advocate, and everybody. I was wondering how this theme would turn out, and it's really stellar. And what I'm hearing is, amazing as ever. You guys are just so on it. Recently, most of the stuff I put online is on Skiffgram on Instagram. I have two short things. Is my favorite book the one that begins with the quote, "Man aspires to greatness, but all too often his ambition is submerged in the primitive instinct to survive at any cost"? Or is my favorite book the one that begins with the quote, "Even when all is lost, we continue with our lives as though nothing was wrong"? Or what about the book I stole that details how to take over someone's mind? Or the one whose protagonist has lips tattooed with a multicolored snake? Or the book that gives the address where I can find the strongest mojito? What about The Perfect Sadist, whose author wanted to borrow my hand-tooled leather choker because she admired the extracted wisdom teeth? How about Chief Abiola's primer on the ancient method of understanding one's future, wherein it is imparted in Odu Meji 4, O fi fa ire mi wa fun mio ire la ba la eshe o risha. I want to believe that and hope the casting of the cowries lands propitiously for me. How about the book that taught me how to survive an abuser? These practical books. The one that taught me how to sex ID a cannabis sprout? That's very useful, I'll tell you. What about the one that begins with the statement, "Many forces converge upon you that have the effect of making you think less of yourself"? I still really love the book That was the last one I checked out of the high school library after I got stoned and decided I should try and find a book I had no fucking chance of understanding at all. And I parted it open to the statement, the strategic legitimating function of symbolic universes for individual biography is the location of death. That's a major deja vu for me. And that led me to Sandor Ferenczi. If you die while you are hallucinating, you might not know it and just keep hallucinating forever. Is my favorite book really just one book? Is it one? Do I have to confine myself to one? I love all those books, real physical books whose paper smells stronger the older they get, that fall apart, that prop up a table leg or fill time in the train station. I love them all. So call me unfaithful for spreading and spreading them wide, spreading all of those books wide open, one after the other. Sure, call me unfaithful. I spread them all the time, wide open, to get to the nourishing juice as I push my face into them. There's only one other place I like to shove my face into more, and maybe that explains my thirst for books, in part. The second piece is, this is left over from my, the word. What's my favorite word? The only way to have a word is admit you do not have it. At least you get its freedom. You may admire a word, but it is not a possession. I know my favorite word, but I do not have it. I am possessed by words I use. The chain of custody continuously interrupted. Words wear my mouth as their shadow. Hunt under my tongue for how to be said, looking for themselves as though mouth is mirror. Being in my mouth like refugees on an illicit crossing to freedom. My favorite word is all of them that make a person whole. Any word that even in nonsense creates an emancipation. All words that start a beginning of full-bodied participation in being alive. If life was a word, I would favor it with being said. I would stand inside the word of life and let it compose me, looking for how to be spoken. All words freely give themselves to page or screen. Never resist becoming alive. Leave silence like it was their mother. I speak you and myself like a word, impassioned with need to be shaped. So we feel ourselves in the here of our hearing, the place we know as our being. The beginning is a word that opens our togetherness. I will be the favor of this word. I will be the favor of this word.
Unmute yourself and give some noise.
Yes. Damn.
Oozing sex. He summons poetry. He doesn't read it, he summons poetry.
Paul Skiff. You can look him up, paulskiff.com, and you spell skiff That is with 2 F's. This is an OG of the New Rican Poets Cafe and of the community. And I always say time and time again that he has more say to this open mic than I do. That is how I feel. You know, this dude, OG, man, you make way for your OGs. Paul Skiff, make sure that you give him a follow. Okay, real quick, gonna take a real quick, I see. Shout out to this brother, man. He keeps showing up. And I think this is maybe his first Monday, but I keep seeing him show up on Thursdays or whatever. Like, I appreciate it, man. And I love the background too. That is awesome. Okay, so family, we're gonna take care of some family business real quick. And let me unmute this person because we are family and we want to take care of this person. Catherine Bedan is on the waiting list. We're probably not going to be able to get to her, but I wanted to make sure I gave her 60 seconds because she wanted to have some things to say. So Catherine, I love you in red, by the way. Go ahead, Catherine. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Eric, and I love being here. And, you know, I was heavily triggered last week, as you all know, because I felt very left out, and I know other people did too. Thank you for your support. But what I really want to say tonight is I'm really sorry I said F you. First, it had absolutely nothing to do with you. I was heavily triggered. I have PTSD, and I got so, you saying that you all love me, it reminded me of my family of origin who didn't love me because I feel close to you, those of you that I know, and I felt like shit afterwards. And I don't know what possessed me to say that, but I was really upset and I was just so triggered, and I hope you can forgive me because I don't mean it. I didn't mean it. I love you, those of you that I know. I love being here. And I just hope that you can find it within your heart to forgive me because that was a crappy thing to do. And it had nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you at all. So please forgive me. I hope you can. I love you guys. Those of you I know. I can't say it to those I don't know because that'd be bullshit, right? Anyway, thank you for letting me share that. I really mean it, and I really felt badly all week. And I appreciate you, Advocate, for letting me express this. I was going to put it in the chat, but that's like really cold. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Catherine Bedan. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you wanting to do this. Just to let everyone know, Catherine brought it up to me. It was not some like, yo, Catherine, man, you better do it. Like, Catherine was like, you know what? I feel like this, and I needs to be said. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I bumped her up so that she can say that to all of y'all. CatherineBedan.com, B-A-D-I-N. That's how you spell it. She's a mainstay here, and I appreciate you so much for coming up and saying that, Catherine. You know, so I love it. I love this family. We're gonna take care. We're gonna rectify things over here. I appreciate that, y'all. This is such a great community. I swear to God, I love it. Okay, I got a little sidetracked now because I was thinking on that. Wait. Who do we got next? Marissa Prada. Where is Marissa? Let me unmute Marissa.
What's up, Advocate?
How are you? Go ahead.
So I am giving up my seat tonight to Jane's spoken word. Because I just love her work, and she has been struggling to get on the mic as well. And I'm so sorry for those of you who can't get in. I feel like I'm hogging it sometimes, but I wanted to give you a real quick, let you know, this is a book that my great grandmother wrote. And it is, if you can read, I don't know if my camera is great. You can see the date on that. It's dated Christmas 1900. This book is 121 years old. So those of you who have published books or thinking about publishing books, this is legacy work, y'all. All right. This is what we're standing up, we're fighting for. Keep writing your poetry and publish your books. Anyways, thank you, Advocate. Take it away, Jane.
Thank you, Marissa. Marissa Prada. Make sure that you go look her up. That book is 121 years old. That's what's up.
Word.
2 years older than me. 2 years older than me. All right,
All right.
Jane. It is.
All right, Marissa,
badass.
you're such a sweetheart. Your heart is big as the world. Thank you so much. All right, this piece is called Beat Hotel. There's no such thing as my favorite book, but please do come into mine, browse and take a look. Welcome to my Beat Hotel. Rest your weary head upon my words, rambling soliloquies of joys and heartbreaks, all twisted in drugs and booze and love and hate, half seeing, half dreaming, a living, breathing paradox. Coltrane's Love Supreme, unexpectedly lost. Whores, prostitutes, and junkies on the edge assassinate their memories left for dead in cups of coffee with lovers and late nights and stabbings and needles and bloodied fights where poets and almost poets write aimless mites, juggling words in Tompkins Park, smoking and drinking and shooting up, a preferred company of sorrowful sinners, spewing late night confessions from destitute transgressors. Miguel's calling. Have you seen Willie B? Mr. Burroughs, where you be? Spiking Java in a coffee joint, animated words to make their point, slicing and dicing the beat culture, sharpening talons like hungry vultures, saying their say on reflections heard, quoting Langston's dream deferred, wording us with lines that confuse, saturate the air with whiskey-stained blues. Hopeless junkies in one breath, idealistic optimist in the next, haunted by Poe's crowed nevermore, temptation knocks at my thoughts door. The lifeblood of poems before me unfolds. The poetry of rock and roll drenched my beating heart in drunken soul. Peace, yo. Thank you. Thank you, Marissa.
Jane, spoken word, unmute yourself.
Yes.
My beautiful queen.
Jane has spoken.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Beautiful homage right there. Awesome. Awesome.
Jane, spoken word. Go look her up, man. Jane, spoken word. I am sure we will be seeing her on August 21st. She's a badass, man. I would never want to meet her on a bad day in a dark alley, okay? Jane, spoken word. I love it. All right, let's get to Propaganda Poet, who we appreciate taking some time off of his motorcycle to come hang out with us. Brother, let the people know where they can follow you, then let's get into it.
First of all, I just want to say, throw this out there. I got an idea for a grant and for the 2-year thing in April. Hit me up. I got an idea if you're interested. Here's all my stuff in the chat there. Catherine just took off. I wanted to say nothing but love and always, Auntie Catherine, always nothing but love. Okay, so on my 2100 mile road trip poetry road show, I wrote this poem, and now I got to squeeze it into 4 minutes. So here we go. This is called, Man, you're an advocate of words. You know there ain't no such thing as a fucking favorite book. The first book I ever read was Charlotte's Web, and it taught me more about love and acceptance than the American school indoctrination system ever would. And the Incredible Hulk encouraged me not to sulk, but to rage, rage, rage before I even knew that my light was dying. And Judy Blume taught me not to assume that a 4th grade nothing couldn't just find the courage to become something. The Giver gave me more than this world could ever take by illustrating how much of a mistake it would be to live without poetry, music, and art. And that was all before I even got to start this journey in junior high, where Stephen King and I became a daily thing. While everyone else was thinking about rings and lords, the gunslinger took me on a true journey. He knew on a true hero's journey. He knew he was meant to lose, but he still would choose the drawing of the 3 so that he could travel the wastelands and continually risk his ass just to find wizard and glass. And until I read The Crow, I didn't know what true love really was. My high school years brought plenty of tears, but it all turned out all right as Mike Grell showed me Green Arrow's light, and with Green Lantern's light, and with every Green arrow that longbow hunter shot, I knew that someday I would have my own shot at making something in this world right again. And like a super soldier, I discovered the real truth when Black Lightning fought the powers that be, and the Falcon was always more than just a token sidekick to me. But my eyes were truly opened in my senior year, and that was before civics class became a Republican fear. I had a teacher that truly inspired me to inspire others. I immediately thought Cuckoo's Nest was the best, but then the Tao of Pooh helped me to figure out what to do, and the Jungle and Animal Farm really made me feel why I should do no harm. And I was shown our true fate with a people's history of the United States. And the miseducation of the Negro showed me how this system has got to go. And I will never forget the ultimate regret when Johnny got his gun. A break from structured education took me to places beyond description, where I met 9 princes in amber, which of course led me to a Game of Thrones, but after having to wade through a storm of swords just to dance with dragons, I had to move on to something a bit more substantial. Then Garth Ennis showed me the depths of religion as the preacher went on to quest to make God accountable. And the Chronicles of Wormwood would suggest that Christianity was really just the devil's jest. And while we're all well and good in a fictional sense, it wasn't until biblical scholar Bart Ehrman turned agnostic by his own research that I saw just how wrongly that we were misquoting Jesus. And Holy Blood, Holy Grail revealed the actual historical tales that led to Da Vinci's Code, but it was the unlikely tale of Scott Douglas that showed me that we are all God's debris. And in college, I was fortunate enough to find true knowledge. No, really, I know that's hard to believe, but because of teachers who actually really were there to teach, there were many important lessons to receive. A Handmaid's Tale gave a veiled warning about a future that we might just be living today. And I was brought to Shaman's Tears because Black Elk Speaks and The Noble Red Man gave me spiritual lessons to keep. Red Earth, White Lies really opened my eyes just to how far the system will go to falsely prove its lies. And Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee had a lot more to teach me about the past being more than just a warning. So as you can see, it would be hella difficult to conceive of choosing a favorite book, but like the ebb and flow of Miro, I still have so many books to read. I have yet to have conversations with grief. Love Letters to Gaia, I'm sure will just be full of fire, and I am certain that Black Calculus will show me equations that lead to light, shadow, life, and I still need to see the joy that can be found by a disappearing boy. So when I travel to 3 Mile Harbor, I might just help me see how much of this is all just a calamity, and I cannot wait to rage with Words Against the Machine. You see what I mean? How can I choose a favorite book when I still need to look to all of you in this community? Artists, writers, poets, dancers, musicians, filmmakers, actors, especially those of you that I may not have mentioned. I can never thank you all enough for giving me these adventures and showing me where to go. Even beyond the titles that I already know, there is still so much room to grow. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so.
Unmute
Peace,
yourself. Give it
love,
up.
Whoa,
Oh,
that was
nice.
amazing.
man.
Thanks.
Wow.
Listeners love it.
Man,
That was fucking big.
Oh, wait. Give this dude a follow and Bear Wolf on Facebook. I appreciate them. And in case you didn't catch all the references, he was referring to books that people in our community have written. So shouting out the community. I love it. Next coming up is someone who has been the co-host all night in case I got booted out and she did her hair. I'm going to assume she did her hair for me. No, I'm joking, Luis. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. Okay, I'm joking. Inside joke. Now we're going to go to the co-host, Finn Bell. Person who's got my back tonight in case Zoom acts up. Finn, you could just unmute yourself. There she goes.
Advocate. Awesome.
And make sure you guys follow Finn because Finn does her own open mics and workshops and like pop-up stuff, which is a lot of fun. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Thanks so much. So you could find me on Instagram at Finn_Bell, PHYNNE_BELLE. Please come to our event. It's a benefit event on August 15th called Magic Mike. We have several of our beautiful poetry community performing for it, and it benefits the Butterfly Project in the Philippines. So I'm going to post that all in the chat. My favorite book I was discussing with Deadpan Lizzie yesterday, and it is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Unfortunately, if I were to write something about it, I'd probably write a poem just as long as Jane Eyre, 500 page poem. So I decided to choose my second favorite author, one of her books, and my second favorite author is Jane Eyre. So this is sort of inspired by one of Jane Eyre's books. I call it Marianne, a Found Poem. He must enter in all my feelings to allow him less of me would speak detachment. Flood through every cell and he overwhelms my inhibitions. I relent, I am submerged. I cannot lift my head above the weight of his attentions. This is how I have made him. This is how I fashion him. And now he moves in the motions that pantomime desire, in the words that parrot good intention. Sympathetic ear, do you realize if I could but know his heart, my own would be finally at rest? Everything would be easy because he would love me. He could only love me. Do you know he loves me? I feel he loves me. It is in his thoughts, exuberant, that spill when he doesn't fold into himself and his moods. It is in the silence we hold between the curve of our chests. As we press them close together, his breath, then my breath become one, becoming their own rhythm, one waiting on another. I am patience herself, but even this virtue cannot outlive what will remain unspoken. She does not sleep in this bed chamber. This is no room for the phantom to sigh as we sigh, to take her pleasure between our sheets. She is voracious for this affair, but am I to watch in the shadows? Always resignation and acceptance. I am certain how she admires me, as only a lover is capable, how he toys with the idea of her, a connoisseur reveling in her fleeting charm, her bluster, her wiles. I have endured her exaltation, her surety in this grand design. She dances before me as she mouths my refrain. Because he would love me, he could only love me. Do you know he loves me? I feel he loves me. It is how his eyes linger on me when he opens them and truly sees me. It is in the way we have yet to give names to all the stars in this universe we have made. Did she see the raven fly the horizon today? Did she see her perch at the window knowing? Had I not been bound to loyalty, I would smooth back her hair and whisper, "Let me soothe you with lullabies, dear sister." Had I not been bound to her confidence, I would hold her to me so we could weep and mourn our loss in unison. Had I not been bound to silence, I could have taken her pale, lovely hands within my own and provided proof enough of a broken heart for her to look upon, to cherish before a realization, before she crushed it, small, frightened bird inside her palm. Where we find ourselves awakening, eyes blinded to the morning's accusation, we smile at one another with brave faces. Pretend at the nonchalance we feel as we set about to untangle limbs from passion and passion from hearts, feigning indifference, facade cracking in this mockery. Sympathetic ear listening in, have you turned on me? Do you judge me, believing you understand the exact measure and shape love takes in its every fluctuation? What do you know of my heart? What do you know of anything but your own indignation, affection boxed rigid, unyielding? What do you know of my suffering? I do not need the insults you heap upon my bowed spine as you depart. You have no need to lend your voice. I cannot express my own abhorrence of myself. I loathe this charade, but I cannot bring myself to do anything else but revisit this, our transgression, nightly. None of us want release. We become the monster itself, all-consuming. We are not those blessed to feel the desire in light. We are those creatures who never love by halves. Love binds us. Thank you.
Unmute yourself.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Oh my God,
Baby
Tricia, that
so
was
beautiful.
You
expect.
Yes.
I know she's got like a pretty face and like has a gentle soul, but she's a beast with a pen. Finn Bell, PHYNNE_BELLE. Give her a follow. Every Monday, you're going to be here with me. But the other days of the week, if you want to find stuff to do, you definitely want to go hang out with her and her poetry games and all that stuff. I love it. I so appreciate Bell. And the Bay, I love the Bay Area. I think it's the best part of Cali. No offense to anyone in South Cali. I love y'all, but I love the Bay Area and the people in the Bay Area. Mia Aguilera is next. And of course, shout out to Finn for being the backup in case Zoom boots me. She's the co-host, so if the ship goes down, she got it. I'm trying to unmute you, Mia. There we go. Earlier, I was incorrect. I said that Mia was just hanging out with us because she wanted to hear your poetry, but I was wrong. No, she wants to share her poetry. She's on the list. I'm sorry about that, Mia. Go ahead. You know the deal. Where can we find you online? Then let's hear your poetry.
Sure thing. Hi, poets. It's nice to be here with you. You can find me on Instagram at Mia Sochi. And Advocate, I want to remind you that I live in New York City if you want to ask me anything. All right, I'm going to be a little rebellious. And my poems are inspired by movies and not books. I'll read 2 of them for you today. The first one is called Poem for Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. Silver earrings glimmer on a blue misty morning. Toes wet and cold, thin white nightdress. Sweet berries stain her lips. Menstrual blood drips onto budding white daisies. Dark, stringy uterus lining. Tastes like iron. And this next one is called Poem for a Portrait of a Lady on Fire. For now, there is the beach, running for the sake of running. The sky so wide you fall into it. I pass the hours, lingering over words to a simple question. At night, I hear the swish of your skirts, see you standing in the dark, glowing in a white dress. I hold out my hand and you taste the scent of salt in your hair. Softly, softly you breathe. Rain patters, the ocean swells, cliffs rise in the night. In a room with light blue walls, I am repeatedly startled by your face. Thank you.
Give it up for Mia. Unmute yourself. Give it up for
Yes,
her.
baby girl.
And Mia.
Advocate, Advocate, don't forget, she's from Manhattan, and she visited the cafe yet.
Oh my goodness.
Wants her to get booted.
That's funny. Everyone's like, yo, she's from New York. She wants you to know if she's been to the cafe. No, is she? Oh, is that what it is? I thought she was like, I want to get on. No, she's like, I want to be on the open mics. I'm available for the open mics. That's what it is. Oh, y'all dirty minds was like, yo, she taking her shot. She taking her shot at the open mics, people. That's what she is. That's what she's doing. All right, Mia Aguilera. Make sure you give her a follow. All right, she's been with us, I think, like a month and a half now. Love having her around. A friend of Sam Park, who we love. We miss Sam. That's right. We like Mia better. She shows up. All right. Next coming up, I have Noelia Cerna. Oh, Noelia. I got to first meet Noelia on the Nomadic Press, right? I'm saying that right. The Nomadic Press open mic. And she was a beast. And then she signed up for Monday night. And I was like, oh, girl, you home. You a beast. And we got the open prairie with the game. Go get it. Noelia, where can we find you online to go do your thing? I'm ready.
Hey y'all, Noelia, you can find me on Instagram at nevertheless_Noelia. And yeah, so here we go. And it's not on topic, my apologies. When my white female colleague calls me angry during a DEIA work meeting on Zoom, all I can think about is the plane ride. My hand grasping the hand of my father as the plane soars above the clouds. I am 7 and wearing a bow in my hair, the kind that's big and colorful, the kind you can't miss, the one my mother carefully weaved into my braid. Under his breath, my father hums Nino Bravo's song America, the one that translated says that when God thought of Eden, he thought of America. I think about my mother, Those early days trying to teach my father English, trying to explain to him all of the rules that don't make sense, how his tongue sounded heavy against the politeness of the language he tried so hard to cradle in his mouth. I remember how elementary school was the last time my throat ever held my accent, how people at church would tease him because his 3 sounded like tree. Maybe that's why all I notice is how whiteness barks. I think about that day we went back to visit Nicaragua, how I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror inside of a shoe vendor's tent as we walked through the open air market. The day I was wearing that skirt and the bright red off-the-shoulder blouse with the flower embroidery and the zipper up the back, my curly hair braided down one shoulder, how I started to cry because while I looked like a local in the mirror, I had never felt like more of a stranger to my own reflection, and I couldn't remember the last time I had ever lied to a mirror before. Think about my mother's recipes, the ones she tried to teach me during the years when all I cared about was fitting into whiteness. How I never learned a single one. How I envy the Latina girls that know our dances. How I envy the Latinos with their own inside jokes that they tell themselves in Spanish, only because I never knew it was okay to rebel. I never knew it was okay to cling to the remnants of my culture. How I haven't been back home in over a decade. How I have a degree in English and still have cashiers at Walmart ask me questions slowly and loudly. I think about the ways I have made my brown body small. How whiteness requires you to fold to the point of breaking and then faults you for the shattered pieces. How the last white boy told me every day that I was intimidating. How I learned to fold softness into my words, to look at the ground when I spoke, to hold my arms close to my body, to breathe before opening my mouth. How there are few people in this world that I have ever felt safe enough to be angry with. How my anger requires a level of trust, a level of security clearance that most people are not given. How my anger is a privilege most people will never have. How I actually cry when I'm angry. How the volume of my voice that they are hearing during this work meeting is my attempt to drown out the terror of being too brown clawing at my throat. How I wonder if there will ever be a place soft enough for me to just exist. How I wonder where that girl in the mirror is now, if I lost her for good, if it's too late to call her back, if she's still wearing those bright colors, if she still braids her hair, if her 3 still sounds like tree, if she's keeping our accents safe. Thank you.
Unmute yourself. Give it up.
Oh,
That
was
man.
That was
Favorite poems by you. I love that poem.
And burn the house down.
Noelia, give her a follow. Representing Nomadic Press. Oh, she's a beast. You know, some people say hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your gazelles, hide your pens, hide your papers, hide your ears, hide your mics. Noelia's in the building. Give that woman a follow. I love it. I love it. All right. We now got Unmesh Mohitkar next. Our brother who gets up in India real early in the morning to have breakfast with us and some poetry. He is back from the mountains. Couple of weeks had me concerned. I was about to put it out like a all points bulletin looking for you. Unmesh, it's good to see you. Let the people know where they can find you online, and let's get into it.
Hello, Advocate Unmesh Mohitkar on Facebook and Instagram, and let's go to the poetry. Unknown mountains, why are they calling me? Do they know me? We keep on walking, steep upward slope, every step fight with ourselves. The knees are giving up, they protest. Why me? Why I am being treated as an alien organ? We keep on walking, baby steps, baby steps. The slope is slippery, wet, we fall, we balance ourselves, get wet, still keep walking, baby steps, baby steps. Wet, slippery patch has not ended. Like life, balance is the key. The shoes are taking all the burden. The balance is the key, and we are losing it. Once it ends, the boulder stretch starts. Someone got very angry, threw all the stones at the beautiful mountains. Maybe a tired trekker. Maybe God decided to punish someone with rocks in the shape of boulders. The vista is beautiful. Far away, mountains are standing in waiting of something which might never happen, something like world peace. The river is flowing through the mountains, the lifeline of mountains. Is she the messenger of mountains, spreading life and joy to the lonely, aloof mountains? We keep walking, baby steps, baby steps. I see the top of the mountain. My head is paining. Lack of oxygen is taking its toll. I stop urging people to walk fast. Small mountain path, rocks smiling at you at wrong places. Deep valley with open mouth, waiting for you to make its victim. I stop looking at the valley. My legs are stumbling, twisting, slipping. My stick pole is the lifesaver. I can't think. My baby steps have become crawling steps. Suddenly, horse comes running from the back. I support myself against a rock. How horses carry all the load in the world and still balance themselves. One of my friends is sitting on the horse. He's more scared than the horse. The horse has to work. My friend has all the time in the world to look at the deep, inviting valleys, to think, to get scared. I see the top about 10 meters ahead. The unending baby steps are killing me. I decided to take a plunge. I decide to run for the top. That is what will end my painful journey. I run for my life. The heart is pumping the blood to my legs. The brain is in a shock. What is this idiot doing? I reach the top. The cold wind is hitting my chest, buried in the jacket. The heart is pumping as if it has to water the unending valleys which I see from the top. I stop, tired, but at inside I am happy. I have reached the top. Wow, what a view. The glaciers like crown are sitting at the top. The clouds are teasing the mountains, sometimes kissing, inviting, singing like a besotted lover. Cloud play games with the mountains. The glaciers are already making love with the mountains. The water from the glaciers filling the lakes below. Sometimes the lakes does have some residue from the glaciers. I don't see many trees, few are there but burned. This is the price you pay when you live with a beauty. The envious eyes will burn you, but the love in the heart still burns bright. Somebody says, we will see Nanga Parbat tomorrow from far away. Just a sneak peek, Nanga Parbat, the naked mountain. The steep sides refuse to be covered with snow. Yes, God created Nanga Parbat. It likes to stay naked, a slap on the face of we humans who just like to discriminate based on physical characteristics. But our guide urges us to start again, points at one more mountain. These mountains never end. Every mountain starts a new mountain. The river might have sent a message. We are coming. Baby steps, baby steps. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Unmute yourself.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
awesome.
Welcome back. Welcome
Thank you so
back.
much, Umesh.
Umesh.
I love how everyone just
Powerful.
keeps getting better.
Beautiful.
Everyone just keeps getting
Damn.
better. It's awesome.
Umesh Mohekar, he has a book out and it did some naughty things with the logo at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. Make sure that you go look him up, Umesh Mohekar. He also hosts his own open mic out in India, and like they got their own community, but I know that there's some from the Nuyo who come, so it's like this mix and mash, and like hopefully I'm gonna get to check it out soon. I'm trying to make sure I check out everyone's open mic, so make sure you go check him out. Umesh Mohekar, love this dude. Next, we are going to the woman who's teaching me patience, because I am waiting for her everlasting love and marriage to end so I can swoop right in. And that is, of course, Diane Ward. I love Diane. Diane, you know what the deal is. I appreciate having you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. All right, my piece is very short, so I stayed on topic. My two favorite books for research purposes are the Bible and the Quran. I read them both daily. In conjunction with chants, hymns, meditations, and periodic fasting, I try as a self-proclaimed Catholim Muslim. I coined this as my combined religious moniker. But I am a student of many religions. As I try to find and center the space between my ears and the space between our ears in a compatible and peace-loving sphere, always, always peace-loving. This is probably the opening page of an ongoing work titled for several years, my work, The Epistle According to Saint Tanisha. Yes, it's my book, almost done, and the title is mine. And so now you're on public notice that this will be my favorite book. So much is covered in many philosophical books. However, the true test is living within these teachings and all the loving and peace-seeking wisdom seekers that I wish to emulate. Oh, I am tested, always tested, tested always, tested. Oh, my muse? Another page from my book, The Epistle According to Saint Tanisha. Peace. Thank you.
Unmute yourself and give it up for Diane Ward.
When Diane Ward puts you on notice, look out.
Yeah. Diane Ward. I love me some Diane Ward. I appreciate I gotta reach out to you, Diane, because I want you to rock on the 21st. So I'm going to email you. Hopefully you were around. When we did the Wild Project last time, Diane wasn't around, so hopefully we can get her around, you know, and hopefully her husband happens to be busy that day. So moving on forward. All right, like I said, we're gonna run a little late because we had the special speaker. We just finished our guaranteed list, and I want to get to now Emily Cordes. Let me unmute Emily. And for those of you who don't know, she's like in theater and a writer, and she's awesome. She also worked behind the scenes at the New Yo, and we very much have our online stuff, part because of Emily, who helped work on it and was part of that. Even before me, even before New Yo called me, they were like, no, hold on, Wordz. We need Emily to come and help us. Emily, let the people know where they can find you online. Oh, and is there someone I have
yes, if you can unmute Elise Frisella, please. We're doing a collab.
Okay, is she? Oh, I see her. Oh, I see how it is, Elise. I haven't seen you in a while, right? But Emily calls you when you show up. You see, man, there's a conspiracy, man. The world is out to get me, but they love Emily. Luckily, Emily likes me. Ladies, the floor is yours. I'm gonna shut up.
Awesome. Okay, so before Elise and I actually met on the open mic, we met through a fan community online for the author Francesca Leah Block, who is kind of one of my personal heroes in addition to being my favorite author. I'm also rocking a t-shirt with some characters from one of her books there, Dangerous Angel series. So this is our love letter to Francesca's work called Shangri-La. Tonight, I'm dreaming of Shangri-La, wishing on first stars and pink cars with Wheatsy plates. I'll spread my dangerous angel wings and fly to a bleach blonde punk rock pixie paradise, where pink smog sunsets spill across the sky and first kisses melt a la mode over late night diner pie, or sparkle gem-like round our necks, a tribute to the ones we've loved and magic we collect. Pack your bat-shaped backpack and strap on your roller skates. In jacaranda twilight, by night we'll sneak away. 'Cause even snarl-haired witch babies, black lambs who bear the pain of life behind their violet eyes, deserve to find their place.
Our drumbeat hearts and coyote howls echo in the desert. The Joshua tree seeds smile through cracked earth, whisper to us like spirits do, say love, love dangerously, turn the pain to poetry, and in Laurel Canyon, under the remnants of Houdini's mansion, magic still exists. Do not fear the lungs of the jaguar and the bloody meat. You have hooves for feet and angel wings. When New York City haunts you, remember the globe is a lamp you can still wish upon.
And when your nerves dance like bone charms, or your heart's a cracked teacup, or your body's a dressed mannequin, blank eyes and mouth sealed up, fight back with pens and cameras, transmute the fear and rage into rose thorn resplendence, a colorful bouquet. Remember that all loves are right and families a tribe that you create.
In a time of global warming and excess, the world might tell you you're too much, while your feelings slam jam around your ribcage like punks at phases, stereo raised high to drown out the loneliness. Believe me, you have so much glorious time to find your duck. Flat top mop and sandy toes. When you feel the salt sting, remember the salt wave of Zuma Beach. Every hand that shoots out to reach you envelops you. Your whole life you can be told something is wrong and so you believe it. But honey, you are a song, a gospel on the boulevard. Remember this town used to be a holy wood. There is nothing wrong with you.
Adorn yourself in tulle and tinsel, black leather, vintage lace. Your psyche shines in every dress, so wear your colors bravely. These studded boots were made for dancing, not running away. So have no fear of anything that can't really hurt us. Whether you're a goat girl, beautiful boy, or anything or none, stand up and tell your story. Weave it with your life and body, because our tales can free us when we set them free. And all of us are warriors for love. Thank you.
Unmute yourselves. Give it up.
Yes.
That was beautiful. All of us are warriors for love.
Yes. Warriors
Yes.
of love.
Next. God, warriors for love. That's the new club. We got to make a club. Warriors for love. Yes.
Make sure, Emily and Elise, you put your contact info into the chat so that the people can give you a follow. They copy and paste it. Shout out to Patty, who I see showed up late, but I appreciate that she showed up. I love Patty's hair. It's awesome. Shout out to her representing Long Island. Who else is here? Shout out to Kevin Alexander. He keeps checking in to listen in. I appreciate you. Mr. Speaker, I see you. Vasilios, I see you. All right, we are definitely way over time. So, the people on the waiting list we didn't get to. Vex Lex. Oh, Vex is awesome too. And I love that name, Vex Lex. Thomas Connor. Thomas is that dude, man. I appreciate Thomas as well. I'm sorry we didn't get to him. Ed Poetastic, who always brings the energy. I appreciate him. Jennifer Monique, representing the Bronx. Jen, I'm sorry we couldn't get to you. Tara Lee, who probably has my favorite name. I love all of y'all equally, but Tara Lee has the best Tara. I love it. Shout out to Tara Lee. Lacan out in Southeast Asia. He's going to be actually joining us on August 15th. So if y'all missed him, you don't know who he is, you need to hear him. Come see the show on the 15th. To my man Nightcrawler, who keeps signing up at the end of the waiting list. Hopefully we get to him. And of course, to my man Norm Mathematics. We heard his book mentioned earlier, Black Calculus. I appreciate you, brother. I'm sorry we couldn't get to everyone on the waiting list. Tonight, it ran a little long. Usually we go a little quicker, so I'll make sure to do that. But right now, I want to remind everyone, you can find me online, Advocate of Wordz, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. When you spell Wordz, it's with a Z, W-O-R-D-Z. We are back next Monday. The theme is, it's a joke, but of course you can flip it however you want. New York Poets Cafe on Facebook and YouTube. That is where all the recordings of these episodes, these shows are, so you can go back and you can listen to it. Make sure you check it out. I love the New York. I love y'all. I appreciate you. And of course, we are now going to end the night with one of the members of our community sharing our good night poet poem. And I feel like someone needs to redeem themselves after having worked at TMZ. So we're going all the way out.
Plausible deniability.
We're going to go with someone who was actually here in the very beginning, Mariela Salazar. We met her while she was sleeping on the couch and listening to us. And ever since then, she has been here. I appreciate you so much, Mariela. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Again, another lie, but anyway. Good night, sweet poet. thank you for sharing what you've written. Good night, sweet poet. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Good night, sweet poet. May your dreams be as imaginative as tonight's poems. Good night, sweet poem. Thank you for inviting the spirit of Miguel Algarin into your home. This has been the Monday night online open mic presented by the New Eureka Poets Cafe, hosted by the Advocate of Wordz. On behalf of the community, tonight, I, Mariela Salazar, would like to say good night, sweet poets. Peace. Bye. Did he get frozen? Do I need to close it out? I guess I do, huh?